good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. However, you happen to be watching this or listening, I want to welcome you to the Gaming Circle podcast, the podcast where we are excited this week because we have a great guest and we have some interesting conversations that we could talk about. Now, I am, of course, your host, Mr. K. Asante, TKO Asante on Twitter, Xbox, PlayStation, anywhere you want to find me. Of course, as you can see, I'm missing a co-host right now. He likes to be fashionably late, so we'll expect him at any moment in time. But I want to welcome podcaster, co-host of the Addict Show, and all around great community member, dropping fools left and right, speaking knowledge, speaking interesting facts to people out there on the Twitter streets whenever it's necessary. We got Mr. Hustler Motivates in the house today. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. Welcome. How you doing today? Ooh, and you're on mute, sir. If we can't hear you.
Yes, I am on mute.
There you go. There you go. How you doing, man?
First of all, thank you for that intro. I definitely appreciate it, man. Hey, look, I'm just around here, just chilling, doing what I gotta do. You know, I'm relaxing. I'm having a good time, which I think is the most important thing.
Indeed.
When you
sure.
do this, like, you know, because you'll have the days where you don't want to do this. I see a few of y'all in the chat. Thank you all for welcoming me, and I think, well, really, thank you for having me, because man, we was talking back behind the scenes. I ain't nobody, dog. I'm just regular. I'm just
as we all are, man. As we all are, and we appreciate the community. You know, that all of us are just normal people out here. Some better than others. Some more approachable than others. You know, so I appreciate whenever I meet somebody who is so approachable, so ready to have a conversation with the community, talk your games. You know, and for the rare few who may not know who you are or what you do in this community, why don't you tell folks what you're about, where they can usually find you, what stuff you like to get into gaming wise?
All right, well, you can normally find me on Twitter and YouTube and Twitch, Hustler Motivate, spelled the same way, and across all forms. You can follow me on Twitter, and I have a link for every other, you know, form of entertainment that I do. As far as what I do, I've been like back and forth. I used to do the news stuff in the very beginning, but that kind of was just like to build a portfolio, just to have people like look over, like, oh, who's this guy? Like, it was for that purpose. Now it's more like I kind of cover the content that I want to cover. Like lately, I've been covering like the Ninja Turtles and a lot of like retro stuff, and we were talking behind the scenes about like the retro stuff. I'm surprised that there are more retro gamers than I once thought, especially, you know, black retro gamers too. So I'm a little surprised by that, but I'm happy for that. I cover a lot of things. I'm going to start doing character bios. I'm going to start doing trailer breakdowns and level breakdowns too. So, you know, just come on over, man. We'll see. And I'll see what sticks and I'll see what flies. But I'll be working on like a couple of big projects. I didn't really announce it anywhere, but I kind of may or may not have a podcast, probably an interview style retro podcast. I might. I'm trying to get some stuff together. Just waiting on my icons and stuff like that. I'll make sure I have you and Everborn as a part of it. And
hey, man, set up that bat signal. We there. You said retro games. You got me, man. I love that stuff. This is great.
Yeah, I kind of want to cover that because nobody kind of is covering that, sadly. So, well, I ain't gonna say nobody. I'm not gonna say nobody. I'll just say that people who look like me don't necessarily cover that. So I kind of want to channel light on.
It's an unsaturated market, 100%. Absolutely.
Yeah, indeed. Outside of that, man, y'all can catch me every Wednesday on the Iron Lord's channel with Lord Addict, man, and shout out to Addicts. I kind of feel like these opportunities wouldn't have manifested themselves or made themselves possible if it wasn't for him. So I owe a lot to him, and I tell him that, and he know that, and he probably don't want me saying nothing about it, but whatever. Addict, you be all right.
But you know what? I'll even do you one step further and say shout out to the whole ILP, because these opportunities that you see from us sitting here on this screen having these conversations would not have happened without seeing them paving the way so clearly, so well. You know, so putting together such a great show, such a great conversation with comrades that make you go, hey, you know, it gives you that inspiration to want to jump in yourself. So yes, indeed, shout out to Lord Addict and Sovereign and Lord Cog and the King, you know, all of them for always paving the way for the rest of us to aspire to be just as great and do more. So yes, we appreciate them. Oh, and before we continue, I want to welcome all the folks in the chat. I see all the tried and true members pulling up. Mr. Gerald Mack, salute to you, good sir. Mr. Joanna Dark. I see a bunch of folks. Oh, Eternal Umbra's in here. Welcome, good sir. Thank you so much. So, you know, before we get started, and of course, you know, as I said, Mr. Mr. Everborn Saga, will be pulling up. He likes to be fashionably late. He likes to show up, when everybody else is sitting down, so he can make a nice entrance of himself. But before we get on there, let's see. Let's start this as we always do. Now, I ask this question every time, and I will ask you this question now. Now, be very careful because it's a very important question.
Okay.
And depending on where you answer, this will derail either the podcast or it will go completely left.
Okay.
What have you been playing?
All right. Well. I have been playing the Outer Worlds. Outer Worlds. Through Game Pass, by the way. Addict kind of wouldn't stop talking about it. Him and Dirk Griggity, they kind of wouldn't stop talking about it. I put that down for a little bit. I've been playing Super Mario RPG because this was it's my favorite Super Nintendo game of all time. A lot of memories tied to that game. Yeah. Oh yeah. That was my first RPG I ever played, or JRPG I ever played. Like
awesome.
Point blank period. Yep. I don't know. Well, you probably haven't heard of it, but there's a game called Go Aquaman 3. I want to give y'all.
Not. Okay.
Yeah, okay. So I'm going to give y'all some context. The gentleman who created the characters for Dragon Ball Z, Toriyama, I believe.
Yes.
He did an animation for that one too. So just picture Kid Trunks is a demon. It's like a demon form. It's literally, if I find a picture, I'll make sure you get it. It's literally Kid Trunks as a demon. It's all in Japanese, so I don't know. And this is around, by the way. I downloaded that one, but I'm looking for an English like translated patch of it. I've been looking online trying to find it. So I stopped playing that just because I don't understand what's going on, and I don't want to like select the wrong thing. But it's pretty much cut and dry. It's a little beat 'em up. Speaking of beat 'em ups, let me some beat 'em ups. You may or may not notice Scott Pilgrim is here. I don't know what that game is, but it's in my drawer somewhere. I got that.
One of my favorite beat 'em ups ever. Ever. Yeah. Love that game. Oh my God, I love that game. It's so good.
I'm gonna hit up the troubleshooters. I'm gonna see who got it on PlayStation, but I want to run it at least one time. But all of that is like in preparation for River City Girls 2, as we spoke about behind the scenes, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, which hopefully will be dropping later on this year.
Oh man,
that's the one I'm looking forward to. And Addict probably be like, "Yo, Hustle, why you like them games like that, bro?" Sometimes you just kind of want to cut your mind off and just go.
Remember how it used to be back in those days. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
For sure.
Yes, sir,
for sure.
man. But that's a lot of it is what I'm into as far as like, gaming and stuff like that. I'm into a variety of games. Like I see you got God of War on the screen.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, look, I'm not finna hold you. I played 3.5 hours of it. Like it's super dope. God of War 2018. It's super dope. That's another game by PlayStation that's coming out. Not by PlayStation, but it's coming out June 10th. It's like the sequel to Until Dawn, which I was looking at it yesterday.
The Quarry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey, look, man. I'm not finna hold you. June 10th, I might have to pick that up. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, for sure. That's a great fun, like a party game. The best party game to ever play is Until Dawn. So if it's anything like that, I'm there for it day one for sure.
I killed both of them girls, I was playing Until Dawn. I streamed a bit of it. I killed both of them girls in the beginning, and I don't think you're supposed to. I don't know if the scene was supposed to play out that way, but I killed them both, and I don't know. Oh my God, that was just it's the wildest thing. But it's a cool little B movie and everything, man. But in preparation for The Quarry, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish Until Dawn. I probably have to stream that one, but I kind of want to stream games.
That's a good part. That's a fun game to stream with a community, to have people talk about what to use and what not to do. I had loved that game for sure. Like I will say, to me, the PS4 launching with that game was just. Like it held me down for months on end when that game came out. Like when the PS4 first came out, and you've been gaming as long as I have, at least. The PS4 versus the Xbox when it first came out, their offerings. I was Rise Son of Rome. I thought it was cool, but Until Dawn was just like it was a necessary evil that came into our lives at that moment, and I appreciate the heck out of that game. So. The Quarry is definitely on my radar for sure.
Yeah, and I'm back and forth playing Uncharted 3. I love Uncharted 2. It's my favorite game of all time. Point blank period. I feel like don't nothing come close. The Last of Us Part 1 for me is number 2, based off of the actual story. Yeah, listen. Naughty Dog can't be topped when it comes to that storytelling. And I say all that, and I have not played The Last of Us Part 2. I'm scared to play that.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. The actual gore or intensity of it, like I can't handle that type of like brutality. Like that's a little. I didn't seen a little too much, but like the sound design on that joint. Hey, look, I'm more comfortable with seeing somebody get shot in their face, right, and their head blown off, whether they're human or click or whatever, than somebody actually getting beat to death with a blunt object. And I don't come from like a certain lifestyle, but it's just there's a difference.
I feel you. I did not finish Last of Us Part 2. You know why? Because I got not sick and tired, but it hurt the heart too much to go, oh my God, I think she got Ricky. Oh my God, tell Ricky's kids. Like, what? They go too far, man.
Hey, listen, man. When King was like, yo, I cried, I laughed, I cried.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, bro, I ain't trying to, and me and King, we both cancers. I ain't trying to deal with that. I'm like, nah, sir. I said, I'm going to sit, because I cried playing Last of Us Part 1. There was a scene, and I'll re-upload all that to YouTube, because that ain't on Twitch no more, but there's a scene with Sam and Henry, and if you know, you know, but that whole thing to me was like, yo, what the pardon me, like, what in the world? And I was like, yeah, I can't. I said, nah, and I broke down crying. I'm like, nah, I don't know, man.
Yo.
If it's more of that, I don't want no smoke with that.
But you know what though? I really appreciate that though, because for the longest time, people who don't know, people who aren't believers like we are believers, are like, oh, this is just the kid stuff and this and that. You know, for a long time, we have been saying gaming is a medium like books, like movies, like TV that makes you feel things, right? Adult things, right? And I will say some people like it, some people don't. The Last of Us 1, The Last of Us 2, many of these other games that take serious subject matters, I will say these are the things that people hold up and go, see, this is what gives you that proof that this is not just kids games anymore. You're going to have your child play The Last of Us 2? You crazy? Heck no.
You know, that is the sound design too. Like, I do want to tip my hat to Naughty Dog, man. Like that sound design, that audio design, I feel like that's extremely impressive. Considering, and you know, shout out Neil Druckmann and the rest of them over there, because he said this world is brutal and it will hit you back.
And you know what? Shout out to them twice, because first for taking such a bold stance in Part 2, and second for sticking out and sticking through all the hate they got for it. Like, you know, you may like the way the story went or you didn't, but man, people clowned them. People like Druckmann just could not be seen online when that thing came out. And I still to this day think that game, whether you like the story or you don't, that's your choice. But from a technical perspective, it's bar none the greatest thing ever made. Like you see, it is the greatest thing ever made. You know, it's like it's the equivalent of taking a pencil and building a house. The things that they did on those Jaguar Core PS4s to make it look the way it does, to make it play the way it does. There's just no one should be stepping to them with nothing else but being on your knees in complete awe and astonishment at their achievement. You may not agree with the story decisions they made, but the technical prowess they showed on display with that game is second to none in the industry. So yeah, I will always give like absolute respect to them for that. I may not be a huge fan of the story, you know, and the constant gore after they beat you over the head like for the 18th hour with more of the gore, you know what I mean? But still, there's no denying that from a graphic perspective, from what they were trying to show, you know, hey, this is what we can do. You know, we are experts at the highest clip. This is what we can do, even with hardware that everyone knows is just not capable. We're going to show you how capable this thing is. And they were very successful. So for me, I will always respect to them for that. You know, I'm actually looking forward to the next iteration of what they do, because now they set the bar so damn high. I'm waiting to see what else they do with themselves. You know what I'm saying?
So it's rumor, and I know this ain't the Naughty Dog podcast, y'all.
No, of course not. Please, we here to devolve. That's what we do on this show, by the way, David. Right. Go ahead, man.
So it's rumor that Naughty Dog's new thing will be a new IP, and I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I'll say if it's more of the same, I'm more inclined to give this new thing a chance. Because it's supposed to be based off, if I remember right, it's supposed to be based off the comic book that you find in Last of Us Part 1, which I played and beat the damn game and I forgot the name of it. Slow Mo, I see you in there.
Yes, sir.
It's taking place in space, but that's the rumor right now. But shout out to Naughty Dog, man. Insomniac, another one. When conversations were running rampant about Insomniac being PlayStation's best studio, I I saw it on Twitter. I looked and I said, I don't really know about that. And I love Miles Morales on Spider-Man. I love that, by the way. But I don't know if they're there yet. Sony Santa Monica's, watching God of War now. Like, I kind of feel like they got to get past Sony Santa Monica. That's the conversation.
First. That's the conversation. You know what? Let's head down that path. Before we do, though, once again, let me welcome everybody in here. I see more folks pulling up. Mr. Lucius Augustus is in here. And our co-host, Mr. Everborn Saga, is in the spot. Welcome, good sir. Thank you, sir, for pulling up. How you doing today, man?
Entirely too much PlayStation talk going on.
Oh man,
come on now!
I leave the other day on vacation and slow-mo's in here. You guys are talking PC. Now you got Hustle and Motivate in here talking all this PlayStation. We need to get back
what do you expect, baby?
Podcast is about.
What do you expect, baby? Yeah, exactly.
That's what the podcast is about.
That's right.
Elden Ring and Cyberpunk.
We gamers, baby. We gamers. That's what we're here for. So wherever we game, we game. It's good. Today it's PlayStation. It's good. I'm good with it. Let's do it.
I need some Sega acquisition talk. That's what I need.
Oh, and real quick, I see Mr. Slowmo Backslap is asking, when do you get your hands on said Steam Deck once it is ordered? Real quick, just real quick. Yes, we'll get to that. Steam Deck's in the spot. I got mine. Mine I ordered on I got my order on a Monday. Did not get the actual hey, you confirmed and it's on its way until that Friday. So they take a bunch of orders on Monday, and then I think on Wednesday or so they ship them out, and then Wednesday, Thursday, towards that time you get your email confirmation. But it's relatively quick. You'll get it very soon. Mr. Everborn Saga may get his in 2025, but you'll get yours next week. It's all good.
Listen, man, I'm tired of this Steam Deck talk. You know what? The Steam Deck is ugly anyway. The Steam Deck is like a girl I tried to talk to and she shut me down.
Yeah. Yes. See. Let me make this hurt a little bit. This is the adult Game Gear, good sir. The adult Game Gear. That's what this is.
Now that you put it in that,
yeah. But truthfully, from a hardware perspective, it really is. It gives you that Sega Nomad feel, that Game Gear feel. It really does. We'll get there. But let me let you finish, Mr. Hustle Motivate, telling me, we are still a PlayStation podcast right now. Shut up, Everborn. Go ahead.
This is why I can't be late.
Nah. I mean, I'll just wrap it up by saying, I mean, I don't really care what you play. Like, yeah, of course, I do prefer PlayStation, but the retro stuff is where my heart at, because I can't catch everything they want. I never, even growing up, we never could catch everything they want.
No, of course.
So I know we were talking behind the scenes, but that's just why I'm getting started with what's this? Kingdom Hearts.
Is that Kingdom Hearts? Yeah.
Started with that. So
I saw you picking that up. That game has a tumultuous history. There are people who love it, and then there are people who are just like it is the Elden Ring of its time. People who just don't understand it, who are in absolute hate with that game because of its title, because of its obscure nature, because of just so many reasons. I think it's super interesting in 2022. You've never picked it up, and you're starting it now. That's so great. That is very interesting. I'm looking forward to your opinions.
And the odd thing was, and shame on Square for even doing this, like the fact that they had different titles across different platforms. Like that, it was mainline titles across different platforms. It started on PS2, as y'all know, and then it went to like the Game Boy or Game Boy Advance or Game Boy. I'm like, why? Why would you even do that? But
it's Square, man. They're playing everybody. For every dollar they can get. This is not new.
Naughty Dog. There. This isn't completely Naughty Dog's fault, but Naughty Dog with Uncharted, they did that. Golden Abyss, which wasn't made by Naughty Dog, it was made by Ben Studios, the people who made
one of the best Vita games out that no one even knows. It's one of the best Vita games. It so is.
Don't nobody know about it. And if you were like me, there was no way you was buying a Vita because the memory cards were too high. Those memory sticks was too high. I'm like, bro, I ain't about to pay for that joint.
I am a proud Vita owner. Proud. Man. I played that on a plane straight through 8-hour plane flight. Played that game from start to finish. One of the best Uncharted experiences ever, and nobody even knows it because it just kind of lived and died on the Vita, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's made by Ben. I mean, hopefully, I really want PlayStation to come back and make like an Uncharted collection again and just put Golden Abyss on there. Like, just throw it on there, man. Like, they
really should
when you do it.
this collection they did with Uncharted, like I get that, some people call it a cash grab. They should have upgraded it for free, whatever. Like, say what you will about it. One thing I do think they deserve righteous smoke about. You don't want to give the whole collection? Fine. Why didn't you put the Golden Abyss finally on the proper console?
Yeah.
That should have been. That would have been the reason to buy it. Like,
what about a Golden Abyss remake?
Hey, I mean, I'm with it.
Yeah.
I mean,
hey, listen. The point you guys were making earlier, right? Insomniac, Santa Monica, Naughty Dog.
Yeah.
What an embarrassment of riches in terms of like top quality producing. You can count on them. Bet money on them every time they put something out.
And to what Hustle was saying, I do hear people's argument about Insomniac getting the crown. I don't necessarily agree, but I hear the argument because before Insomniac became first party, they were out there being prolific everywhere else. Like, and I say this, and most people don't remember.
VR talk.
It's not just VR. They were everywhere. Sunset Overdrive was a big deal for Microsoft at that time because they didn't have much else. They didn't have much else available.
I finished that. I got like halfway through it. I think.
Yeah, I'm gonna replay it on the deck. I'm gonna play it on Steam Deck. Yeah, but they were like so prolific, and yes, we will talk VR because they had like 5 games released at the same time. Like Insomniac, one studio, 5 games, and they were all bangers in their own right, and they were all like selling out. Sold out left and right.
And then people wonder how they're able to do Ratchet and Clank and Miles Morales.
Yes.
Right? Like
they've been training themselves doing this stuff for a long time. So when PlayStation was like, all right, time to bring you up to the big team, they knew what to do. They were ready to put PS5 on their back because they've been working on it for a long time. They are a prolific studio for sure. Not to be outdone by Insomnia, by Naughty Dog and the rest of them, but they're out there fighting for sure. You were saying that before.
No. I was just saying to give Sony a little bit of credit. The way that they're able to sort of support the studios that they inorganically grow is like you have to take your hat off to that, right? And this is why when I heard that they got who's the guys that did Demon Soul? I can't think of their name right now. They do all the remakes.
Blue Point.
Blue Point.
Like big. That's a big deal, right?
Oh yeah.
Because if they can successfully integrate them like they've integrated their other acquisitions, and the same thing goes with Housemarque, I think we are in store for great things. Just because of that pipeline that Sony does. With support, and hopefully, obviously, they'll let them kind of make the games they want. They want to make support them to make great things, but like, not that anybody's sleeping on Sony, but like, I do want to take the hat off.
No, I agree with you. While you're speaking, why don't you go ahead and answer the question? What have you been playing there, good sir?
Do I need to answer that question?
Is this going to turn into the Elden Ring podcast again?
This is what this podcast is. Elden Ring. This is why I don't appreciate.
So in that case,
PC talk.
So in that case, hustle and motivate. I have to say, I commend you, good sir, for not even getting that monkey on your back, because these days the Elden Ring is like crack in the 80s in New York. No one can escape it. So the fact that you have is commendable, good sir. Thank you.
Well, technically speaking, I haven't escaped it. I'm just not playing it at the moment.
Okay.
I got a video on my channel where I beat like my first Souls boss, like Marguerite, Fallen, whatever. That's the first one I beat.
Taxes and Elden Ring. These are the 3 constants.
Constants in life.
So hold on. Slow Mo says Insomniac is the best PlayStation dev.
Slow down.
So I want to ask this question, right? Is that because I feel like we see this a lot, and I'm not accusing Slow Mo of this. I know he's thought it out very well, even though he's terrible at all his other takes. But could it be recency bias why so many people say Insomniac, right? Because we have those 2 big games from Insomniac right now. Now is when you're hearing everyone say Insomniac. Will we be hearing it?
Well, so okay.
Naughty Dog puts out their next game.
The reason why I may be on his side a bit, and that's still argumentative, but the reason why I might be on his side a bit is because Naughty Dog, right? People people just remember the end results. They don't remember all the back and forth that got us there, right? The delays, the this, the that, the leaks. It took them a while to not only bring it out, but to bring it out at the scale and the quality it was. And once they're done, it goes back to being a little bit more murky, as it always does with Naughty Dog. Whereas Insomniac, they release a banger, and then they already have another one in the clip ready to release. It's not only just about the quality of the product, but it's also about the quality of the process by which they execute. You know what I'm saying? They're very much on like a very good cadence, and there's barely ever any kind of drama in between there. So I think that part may put it over the edge for me a little bit. But there's no denying that, you can definitely argue that, you got Sony Bend, also great quality products. I'll even say, screw that, like with Ghost of Tsushima, that brought Sucker Punch into a new direction as well. Like they're all at the height of their powers, but it seems to me that Insomniac specifically, and Guerrilla, of course. Yeah, but as you can see, even though they're all really great, there's always some kind of background asterisks there, except for Insomniac. They're the only ones that are like, oh yeah, here's a banger, here's another one, here's another one, you want drama? We got no drama. All we got is bangers for you, baby. That's Insomniac, right? Well, the others tend to kind of, go ahead.
Well, I got a question for you both. I can't remember where I was when I said it, but would you want to have like six games that are 88? Or would you rather wait for the 2 games that are like 96 pluses? Like that's a really good problem to have over there at PlayStation. Shout out to Slow Mo, that's my boy. But he's saying Insomniac is the best studio.
Don't worry, he's been wrong before.
He's definitely wrong.
But yeah. so that you understand, Slow Mo plays a very specific role on this show. He is the contrarian in the chat. No matter what's going down, he is the contrarian. That's the role he plays, and we appreciate him for doing so.
That's all it is.
him and Pixel Bit, and he also is in here now. So now they're gonna battle it out in the chat.
Well, I do want to say this though. In order for Insomniac to become the greatest PlayStation first party dev, and I don't want to keep talking about PlayStation, but I will say this.
Oh, we here to talk PlayStation. Go for it. Yeah,
they got to get their own IP.
Well, not even that. They got to get past the people on the screen right now. Sony Santa Monica, in my opinion, because I kind of feel like Naughty Dog for me is number 1. Number 2, that number 2 spot right there. Number 2 spot, man. Sony Santa Monica, dog. Like you can't really ignore what this is. You talking about the reinvention of Kratos, and a lot of people get mad that says Dad of War.
This is not their Kratos.
Yeah, they be on there. Yep. BS. I ain't worried about all that. Like, but if you can take something, because people was tripping off of God of War now, Kratos not being able to jump. Oh, this game gonna be trash because you can't jump. And
no jumping. Yeah,
they was doing all that, and it's just come on, man. Like, but I feel like Insomniac got to get past that. And for the record, I love Miles Morales. Like that's to me was like one of the that was one of my favorite games.
I shed tears playing Miles Morales.
Not being wrong, so you are wrong.
He's wrong.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's cool. I'm just saying, like, I feel like you gotta kind of before we can like anoint them the new kings. And for real, Naughty Dog's next game would have to be kind of. I see you
Slow mo, man. You going wild, brother. Come on now. He paused himself in there.
No, but again, Insomniac can come to me when they create one of their own IPs,
So you don't consider Sunset Overdrive
they made
their
that
own
for
IP?
Xbox. They didn't make it for Sony, so that's not Sony's best studio.
Well, no. You said Insomniac can come when they make their own IP. Insomniac made their own IP.
It's Sony's best studio. Let them make their own IP.
Okay. Touche. I get you on that. Specifically for Sony, I get you on that. Okay.
They can make a Sunset Overdrive too. I'm just saying they don't got no IPs they created on Sony that's at the level of God of War and
okay, sure. You're right on that. Not yet.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
But,
much like a lot of Microsoft studios, right?
And Wolverine.
Much like a lot of Microsoft studios, it's all potential and nothing actually to point to say, see, this is it.
No. Well, hold on. Let's not.
Although Insomniac has a lot to prove to show. Yeah, that's right.
I got a question for both of y'all. Because we've been talking about PlayStation a lot. who do you guys think the Xbox's best studio? Because I got a theory with the Coalition. Because
I agree. I say the Coalition.
I was hands down going to go to the Coalition. I know Slow Mo thinks it's Playground, but
Playground is also a good argument.
Before we say that, if Fable,
well, no, I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't. You know why I wouldn't say that? I wouldn't say that because Playground has already shown like many iterations that they are the best at what they do. Now they're doing new things, great, but whether that new thing is good or it's not good doesn't like take away from all the brilliant offerings that they've shown us all these years, right? They are still considered the best at what they do. We'll see what they do as far as them venturing out into their third person.
Okay, so let me call the fraud alert on myself. Shout out to Iron Lords.
Shout out to Iron Lords. That's right.
But I guess if I'm gonna have a requirement for Playground to make something else before I call them the best Microsoft studio, shouldn't I also have a requirement for Coalition to make something else? They've only made Gears.
Well, actually, and I'm sure y'all know, they're another studio who is rumored to be working on
they're definitely
new.
Working on something else, but we might. I'm saying before we make declarations, I should probably see what else they do outside of Gears, just like I want to see what Playground does outside of
okay. That is a good assertion. That is a good point. Okay, understood. All right. Well, let us move on.
We're counting just XGS, right? We're not counting Bethesda.
Well, I was going to say because they own them. They technically own
them.
Yeah,
so, I mean, you can count Bethesda. You can count Bethesda. You can count Obsidian. You can count all of them, right?
Over there, because
Obsidian they're dope, but they gotta
You haven't played Wasteland 3? It's a dope game, man.
No, Wasteland is in Exile.
Oh yeah, I was mixed up.
Worlds and
Outer Worlds 2, yes, and Outer Worlds 2 was brilliant, both in tone and in graphic quality.
No.
So there you go.
Outer Worlds was brilliant. Outer Worlds 2 is coming.
It's not.
I'm sorry. Yes, Outer Worlds 1 was brilliant. Yes. Two is on the way.
Steam Deck is rotting your brain. Kate.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what's happening.
So no, but
yes, indeed.
To answer, Obsidian, I think needs some more time in the dojo. I think they're gonna get there, and I think Avowed is gonna be like their coming out party, to show like fully backed, fully baked into the cake. Supported by whatever.
Do you think? Here's a quick question: do you think Avowed will be too much Elder Scrollsy to the point where it's almost derivative?
No, because we don't have an Elder Scrolls right now other than Elder Scrolls Online, and Elder Scrolls 6 is not coming for I don't know how many years. So I think it's actually the perfect tee up if again Starfield hits its date for this year. If we have fantasy this year. And we have sci-fi this year, and then fantasy next year. People will want that because if Starfield is Skyrim in space, fantastic. That's great. That's what I want. That's what a lot of people want. But then people are gonna want Skyrim in fantasy, right? And so if they can deliver a top tier fantasy Western RPG in the vein of Elder Scrolls. I think that's perfect. The perfect follow up to Starfield for Xbox.
Understood. I think I agree with that.
Because we're not getting Elder Scrolls 6 no time soon.
Yeah, true. Elder Scrolls is still very much like vaporware for now, and for the next maybe 2 to 3 years.
Our Elder Scrolls for the foreseeable.
Okay. So before we move on to some new stories we're talking about, let me quickly touch on games I've been playing. As you see, I've been playing a little bit of God of War. I have a few other games I've been playing, but believe it or not, it's not necessarily like the latest games I've been playing. It's more the Steam Deck I've been playing. Now, I wanted to make a full topic of it, but because I'm the only one on this panel currently who owns one, which it's not a humble brag. I apologize for all of y'all who with your queue waitings, they're slow-mo, so calm down. So I don't think we can really fully have a full conversation about it unless you... Being that I've played it after thinking what I thought about it initially and now having it in my home and playing it for a while, I'm almost convinced that others who've also made their minds up before playing it may find themselves mistaken in certain instances. So I kind of want to wait to hear people's hands-on impressions before we have a full-fledged conversation. But I will give you some broad strokes about this system right now. Real quick, I know that a bunch of folks were when the whole thing came up and people were very excited. A bunch of people put down the $5 to reserve it, and in subsequent months they have either canceled it or they've changed their minds, things like that, because they found out that at this point this system's not ready for prime time. It may not be ready for people who are like just console gamers, and I will agree with you on that. This is not for console gamers. This is not for console gamers. I don't think this is for console gamers at all. I actually think this is for PC gamers.
Oh, that's it.
Whoa. Hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish. So remember back in the day, and this is for you more, Mr. Everborn Saga. Remember back in the day when phones and smartphones used to be for only like the techies and the tech heads who knew how to use them. Remember back in those days?
Yep.
And then the iPhone. That's right. And then the iPhone came about and brought just enough of tech with usability and user language that made it
enough for the masses
just stupid enough. Exactly, to the point where that gap of learning, you were ready to do that.
User, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's a proud iPhone user. Don't worry about it. To the point where at some point, then people started understanding, what a Wi-Fi signal does. What's an SSD? What's an SSID? And all this other stuff. Stuff they didn't understand and they didn't want to get because, it's techie stuff. But then when iPhone brought it about in a more approachable manner, it became, this is now something that everybody does, not just the smartphone techie people, right? I honestly think that this is the beginning of turning PC gaming into something that everybody does.
Stop.
This is the beginning of that.
Stop.
With this device.
Stop.
It is the beginning of that. Because let me be clear.
Cut it out.
PC gaming has been, in order for PC gaming to exist in its iterative form today, before this, it required tweaking, right? It required it. If you don't know how to get this thing running, you can't play it. That's just the way it is. You need drivers. This is broken. That is broken. You got to sort it out. If you don't, you're not gaming, right? And that
on the Steam Deck right now.
And that, Everborn, I'm not listening to you because you don't have the device in your hand, so you don't know what you're talking about. And that has been a problem for most for a long time. What the Steam Deck does is it brings console-like capabilities in that respect to the PC gaming community. So every game that they say works on here will work on here. So you can be, if you want to be that console guy that goes, I plug in my game and I play it, you can do that. You can be that what do you call it? Nintendo.
Go check on the whitelist.
You don't have to go check on the whitelist, bro. It's literally right there.
They say can play.
And well, let me be clear. Hold on, I'm getting there. And to answer your question, you'll know if it's playable because right when you load the game up, or right at the storefront, when you see the cover of the game, it shows you right in the corner. This is a game that is compatible with Steam Deck or not. It'll tell you right from jump. So before you even decide to buy it, or if it's in your library already, all of them have these little, just like, remember how when Xbox eventually got the Series X or whatever, all of them, the X and S.
If it's a VR game, you'll see a VR logo.
You'll see, exactly.
Okay,
you'll see it from jump.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
Why haven't you put Windows on it yet?
So, no, this leads to a very interesting place. This, and we'll reference the ILP much on this show this week. Much like how the ILP have their coming in hot logos, this thing came in hot for sure. It came in real hot.
Okay.
Everborn, stop threading a needle that doesn't exist. Calm down. It came in hot, right? So when it first came out, you couldn't install Windows at all. Now you can, but even though you can, it's not a feature complete yet. They're literally building the plane while it's still in the air, meaning you can't do audio like out of the speakers. You can do audio out of headphones in Windows for now. Since I've owned this thing for a week, I've gotten at least 5 updates already, like software updates, firmware updates. They are literally iterating. Like it's almost like they should have waited.
Or is that for the?
That's for everything. That's for everything. That's
okay.
The Windows drivers that were released. So the Windows drivers that were released themselves have gotten at least 4 iterations since their release as well, right?
Okay.
So they are literally building it right now. But the problem is they're in a world where they want people to review it today. And if you review it today, it's always half baked because the whole thing is half baked today.
Can I please please?
Go ahead.
They took the money out your account, right? They didn't give it to you for free, right?
All good points. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So if they're selling these things, people should be able to review them.
Sure. Oh yeah. No doubt. 100%. Yeah.
That's the first thing. But I do have to say, I'm getting some real beta boy vibes.
Oh, no doubt. This is 100% beta boy the device. I will come out the mouth and say it right out from jump. I will not deny it. This is beta boy the device. But my contention is it's beta boy the device because it needs to be. This is the path they will take. Because remember, when the iPhone 1 first came out, there was no app store. It was kind of like today, when you think of the original OG iPhone, you're like, that was an abacus compared to today. This is the first iteration of where we're going. If they follow down this path, there will come a day when PC gaming is no longer this segregated little thing that only those who know it do it, right? The design language and the conversation that they're having on here has come so far that there will come a point that you'll just be able to just pick it up and play and just be a gamer, whether it be on a Steam Deck or something else or whatever. The decisions that Steam has made here will lead to the path where it becomes ubiquitous for all. Not there yet, but it will lead there.
So this is the beginning of the dumbing down of PC gaming, is what you're saying.
It's kind of.
Now slow-mo and Pixel in the chat. Is that what you guys want?
And
is that what you want? Do you want
Mr. Everborn Saga, give me a moment before you get all slanderous. I must take a quick step back. I will mute myself and I will ask you to continue the conversation. I will return momentarily. Go ahead.
Right. So 2 things. I always thought that PC gaming, it is what it is because of the nature of this constantly sort of moving target of being in beta, and it's for tinkerers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if this is going to dumb down PC gaming to make it feel like console gaming, wouldn't people just want to go get a console instead? I feel like if you're a PC gamer, it's because you want to run all those benchmarks and you want to install all those drivers and do all those ridiculous things that I would never do to game on PC to get every last inch of performance. So is this a thing you would want? And so for people who game on PC, that's my question to you.
Well, okay. Well, let me jump in because I started PC gaming in 2017, October 2017 to be exact. Actually, on my streaming PC, which I have here, I used to have a 1080 Ti in it before I gave it to one of my homies. Now, I say all that to say this. I used to be intimidated by PC gaming. Like, I saw like a lot of people who online, who in our community, who was really getting it in, was like, oh, this game wouldn't run because I had to go Google this fix, and I had to go back in and figure out how to, just run an executable, this, that, and the third. I didn't want to deal with all that. Something like making a Steam Deck way more approachable for me is super easy because, while I do want the bells and whistles of PC, I don't want to have to do much to get it. Like, I feel like my graphics I got a 2080 Ti sitting in my gaming PC right now, right? I feel like that should be enough to have me run a game on high, very high, whatever, ultra settings, and I'm good. Ultra settings at like 60, so on and so forth. I feel like that should be enough. So if they are making this easy for like the everyday common man or common, woman, right? Common person, make it easy. Don't make this difficult because a lot of people, I wasn't in the PC gaming off rip. It's just because I used to think it was complicated. And then I really got tired of playing at 30 frames for all the games that I wanted to play. I need 60 plus.
It still is complicated. So for me, right? Like I have a gaming PC, but I use it pretty much under duress, right? Like it has to be like a situation where the game is for some weird reason not available on the Xbox or the PlayStation, or a Cyberpunk situation where it's just like unplayable on those platforms. So I'll play it on PC. But I will always, at least historically, I have always chosen console first and foremost, and PC is the secondary thing, just because of like experimenting. Like things in VR happen on PC first. So,
see, but honestly, Everborn, I think that's by necessity. You've done that, rightly so, because that was necessary. You needed to do that, right? Because if you don't want to be a tinkerer, the only place to play is a console, right? And what I'm saying is they're heading down the path.
When I was younger, right?
Sure.
I don't do that anymore.
Yeah, but see, but the cars analogy you're making is a very apt one, because if you don't need to do that, you can still drive your car without tweaking it, right? You can just buy a car that just does what you need done without having to go through all that extra, right? They're heading down the path with this. They're not there yet, but they're heading down the path with this. And the reason why I say that is because, as y'all know,
that path is the
yes, I do. Yes, I do, because there will always be room for people like me. Right, I'll be running Breath of the Wild on this thing. You don't need to. I'll be running Fight for New York on here. You don't need to, right? There'll always be room for people like me. But there's, like you said, PC is where experimentation happens. PC is where interesting things go down, and then they kind of clean it up and quote unquote dumb it down for console, right? I want that interesting thing to be also in console, and this is bringing that more about. It's not there yet. I've said that multiple times, and I'll continue to say that. It is not there yet. So right now, this is more for people like me than it is for anyone else. But based on what they're doing and some of the stuff I see that's happening, they're definitely heading down that path. And to your conversation about Windows, I say, like me personally, and you know me, I'm a Windows guy, right? You are not allowed to dual boot Windows just yet. You can install Windows, right? Replacing Windows with the Steam OS, but they've spent so much time working on that Steam OS to make it really work well on this, and they haven't spent that much amount of time on the Windows side just yet. So clearly, by very nature of it, obviously, Steam wants you to use their Steam OS. It makes them more money, right? So they would not spend as much time on the Windows side of the house from jump as they would on the Steam OS. So right now, when you're in the Steam OS, it is fully baked. It's beautiful. It's a very interesting experience. On the Windows side, you can definitely tell this is beta, real beta, right? So give it some time. Eventually, they'll get there. Today, it's for me, right? I say in a year, 2 years, 5 years, it'll be for others as well. Yes. What's Slomo asking?
Asked the question. He said, "Can he play games on the go at 60 FPS?"
Yes. Yes, you can. You can play games on the go at 60 FPS.
So Cyberpunk works at 60 FPS on the Steam Deck.
Yes, Cyberpunk, and I was playing it. Cyberpunk works at 60 frames per second.
Because that barely ran 60 FPS on 3080.
Yes. Now the question you must ask yourself is how. That's where I say,
if I could send you a meme right now, it would be.
It'd be what do you want? Denzel stroking his beard, going explain. No. Let me tell you how. The reason why they can do that is because they've made very smart decisions with the hardware. Okay, the screen only goes up to 800p, right? And they have implemented FSR, for those who aren't aware, that is AMD's DLSS solution. They have implemented the FSR on a system level under the hardware. So whether the game you're playing supports it or not, the hardware supports it. So you can literally double it and upscale it to make it like save your resources and add them to frame rate. So quick example, when you're playing a game, you can drop the resolution to like 450p. Which is like, if you think about that, us living in the digital foundry world, 450p, like that is a thumbnail, if you will, compared to what we're used to. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know why? Because when you dumb it down that far, then the system's internal FSR kicks in and upscales it to the right resolution. and it's so good, sometimes it looks better than it does native. And since it's not using all those resources to make sure the resolution is at 800p, it uses those resources it saves for frame rate.
Let me ask you a tangential question.
Mm-hmm.
Why can't we get some of that FSR goodness on the Xbox and PlayStation?
That's a good question. AMD.
What they are doing with the Steam Deck is what they should be doing with the Xbox and the PS5. More the Xbox than the PS5, because the PS5 has a bit more bespoke tech than they do from the standard RDNA 2. They added extras, right? But the Xbox has very much the Xbox is very much on the same path as this thing is. They could, just like Steam has, they could implement FSR built in. So whether a game can handle it or not, you drop the res, it upscales, and boom, you have so much more for frame rate. It is 100% possible. It's just they are not ready to do that to consoles because those are troglodytes. Forgive my saying. Okay. Because they may not know what FSR means. They may not know the logistics of it. This is what I mean by they're training. It's the iPhone of it. They're training people to then. There will come a future where, doubling your upscaling using algorithms is just something you do. Right now, it's for something people of our nature who know what that means. You know what I'm saying? And as they're going along and making it better and making it easier, making it more turnkey, there will come a world where, oh yeah, I drop my resolution to half and then use FSR to upscale it. That will become common parlance that is not common parlance in console gaming today. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying they're heading down that path. They're just not quite there yet. But yes, you will be seeing a lot more from me because specifically about the Steam Deck, I am Mr. Make things do what they're not supposed to do. So you see me with the Breath of the Wild video. I'm gonna put a video out for that.
Valve send me my pre-order.
Well, they've heard you online. Your scandalous reputation is beyond reproach, my friend.
At this point, I'm scalping it.
Oh,
I'm gonna sell it for double the price.
I saw somebody go, yeah, I got mine, and I decided I didn't want to open it, and instead he sold it for £1,400.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking is gonna
unopened. £1,400. Absolutely crazy. Anyway,
after this this backyard renovation I'm doing.
Yes.
But anyway,
that's your next protocol. You're gonna use that to get your money back.
Exactly.
All right. So yes, y'all will hear a lot more about the Steam Deck from me. I will most likely be putting more content out there, talking more about it. It is interesting. It is to the point where people who are not tinkerers are shouting me out in the DMs, going, "Hey, how did you get that Fight for New York to work? How did you get that the Breath of the Wild to work?" And that's where I want us to all be. That's where Valve wants us to all to be.
To this channel as the Steam Deck Whisperer.
There are lots of content out there for Steam Deck whisperers, if you will.
You could be making it, man. People
understand. Well, I'm in a contractual. Like right now, I'm in a construction zone. Let that get
I would
fixed.
Call that excuses, but I didn't bring back On the Real yet, so I'm not gonna.
So there you go. There you go. So yes, you guys will see and hear a lot more from me about the Steam Deck as we're going on and this is maturing and all of that. But yes, I've been having a great time with it. If you have any questions about it, reach out to me in the DM. You want to know how to do something, you want to know how to run some old games, you want to know how to do something crazy, I'm always ready to talk about it, always ready to help you, get more out of it than you have. So I'm here for it. Catch me on Twitter. But let's move on. Let's talk a bit about some of the news stories that have been making the rounds, because it's been interesting. But before we do that, and I don't know if Mr. Everborn has stepped away, but as we are now
to step away.
Oh no, well you're not stepping away yet, because we are now getting to our block where we will discuss the latest episode of the Halo TV show.
Oh no! This is where I want to step away because I haven't watched it yet. I apologize.
Oh,
yes. I was
interesting.
trying to watch it this morning, but I had to go do that thing that I called you about. So
okay.
You guys talk about it. I will be right back.
Okay, don't worry. Have you,
go ahead.
Mr. Hustler Motivate, have you seen today's episode, the latest episode, sir?
Yes, I saw it last night actually in
Okay.
preparation for the show. Yes.
All right. So before you give us your detailed review on this episode, give us your top level. What is your experience with Halo? As you've said, admittedly, you are more of a PlayStation guy than you are an Xbox guy. You know, we're gamers all around here. None of that gives you bad marks in our world. You know, what is your experience with Halo, and when you came into this TV show, episode 1, episode 2, what is your takeaway so far? Go ahead.
All right, so my experience with the games in particular, I beat Halo 1. I beat Halo Reach, which is on my channel. Halo 1 isn't. I beat Halo 1 when it first came out. Me and my brother, we co-op that together. Mm-hmm. I played a lot of Halo 3, the multiplayer. Halo 4, not so much because it kind of was like Call of Duty. Halo 5, I was just on Game Pass with the troubleshooters. They know who they are. So we was running back and forth. And I played Halo Infinite, the multiplayer when it first came out, much like everybody else, and then I kind of fell off, like sadly everybody else on Steam.
Of course.
With all that being said, the actual game story of Master Chief to me is extremely boring. I am for this change of pace as far as the television show is concerned. Television show, look, for better or for worse, it builds character in Master Chief. I like Quan, like the little Korean girl. Like she's trying to lead a revolution. Like it's lit. And I guess we'll get into what happened with episode 4 and everything, but it's lit because they looking for her. But like she to me is like an extremely strong character. This show to me, I know a lot of people don't like it. I be seeing y'all on the internet. Y'all get y'all Twitter fingers get the working. I know
the thumbs.
Yeah, man, I'm there. They about to break their damn thumbs off with so much hate. Listen. I don't have no issue with the show, but here's the thing. If you are a Halo purist, I can see where you'd be troubled. Hey, listen, I love The Last of Us, and I know this ain't a part of that conversation, but Pascal, whatever this Pablo Pascal, I believe it's his name.
Yeah.
He didn't even. He said, "Hey, listen, man, I'm going to this joint cold. I never even played The Last of Us 1 to even know what a Joel is because I don't want that to."
Oh boy!
That joint finna be. I think that joint finna be mid, man. I think the same complaints that they have here.
Isn't that the same thing they said? Like that's roughly what they said about the Halo TV show that when they first came out, and they were lying about that, by the way. Clearly, they did watch the games, but they were like, "We didn't pay attention to the games," and that literally like dogged them for like a week. Oh boy!
I mean, look, I'm not gonna sit up here and act like that. That didn't concern me because I love The Last of Us so much.
Yeah.
But here's what I say about Halo, man. I mean, they put it out there the way it was like, "Hey, we're taking our own creative liberties on this. So we're gonna stay true to the actual lore." And I think they just mean like true to the suits. I saw mention of certain guns when in the very first episode when you saw the Covenant come in, when you saw them come in and everything, and then you saw like the Spartans come in right after that, they start laying everybody down. It was when Chief got hit, it made the sound effect where his shields were popped. Pretty much. You saw like things through the helmet size, and a lot of people, like for me, that's cool. Now a lot of people didn't like the fact that Master Chief took his helmet off, and the fact that he continues to take his helmet off. But let me explain something to y'all. The reason why I didn't like Master Chief in Halo the games because he
never took his helmet off.
We don't know who that is. Like he dried. Listen. He is drier than the Sahara Desert out this joint, dog. It's just so floating. We don't know who. Like he's boring to me. He's
real quick.
Yes, sir.
Episode 2. What do you think of Master Cheeks? And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's the next thing that came about.
So I skipped episode 2 and episode 3.
Oh, you did?
Well, I did it by accident because I was dealing with dealing with home stuff. But it was just like, well, he's not the only one to do that, by the way. He ain't the only one to take that shit. And let me say this too. The UNSC, like the fact that they aren't exactly the good guys, quote unquote. I enjoy that dynamic. You know, it's different. It's different levels to what you would consider as good. And so
that you know, and of course, Pixelbit G's in the chat, ready to drop that knowledge.
All right.
So that you know, book readers are on the same page as you are, because in the books they explore the not so good UNSC far more than they do in the games. So when we saw, now let's be clear, you know, the TV show really goes far out in that, hey, this is a totalitarian regime, they're not good people, whatever. They go all the way in, right? To the point where even Cortana is being questionable, you know, at this point, right? But this is canon. It's they're taking liberties, true, but it definitely is canon. It's just that if you happen to be if you're only in it from the games, you don't get any of that. It's hard to get any of that. So I understand why people can be like, "Oh, you're changing things." No, they're not. They're just emphasizing things that were already there.
Yeah, and I do want to say that because I watched the what's her girl name? Was Sydney Goodman. She used to be at IGN.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Plus.
After the show's done. Yes. I saw some of those. Yes.
So I watched those as well, and like there's a lot that you kind of learn by watching that too. Like they do it like, I don't know if you watch Power, but with 50 Cent and what they were doing with Courtney Kemp.
Yep.
So it's kind of like that. It's kind of like what stars do, but except the 5-minute thing, it's like a 30-minute thing. So you kind of learn different things in there,
filling in the gaps for you and whatnot.
Yeah. So if it weren't things that you weren't privy to, they kind of spoil the episode. But hey, well, if you missed this, here's what this interpretation is. So I enjoy that too. But I do want to talk about episode 4.
Get to episode get to the latest episode. What did you think of this episode?
It was cool. I didn't I'm liking the series so far. Like, of course. Like I wanted to be more action, of course, because it's shoot 'em up, bang bang. That's just what that is. It's first person shooter. You want to see more of that, but I understand, like, it's a television show. You gotta let things marinate. You got to let things grow. I'm not sure the young lady's name, but I didn't see much of the blessed one. The young lady, coincidentally, her name is Charlie Murphy. By sharing coincidence.
I'm just like, what? When I first heard that, I'm like, excuse me?
I ain't finna hold you. I thought it was a joke. I didn't think, I was like, this can't be that girl's real name. But,
like, for real, it is her real name, oddly enough. Indeed.
Now, here's my thing. Now, I'm not familiar with the book, so I'm not really sure how a human is over there with the Covenant. At all. Like, I don't understand that to me at all. But I'm willing to get at an opportunity to like grow and let it turn into something. I'm gonna be all over the place, so I do want you to correct me.
Go ahead.
Who's the gentleman who has Quan right now? He's a pirate, basically. Who is
he is not part of canon. He's a newly created newly created character, but that is supposed to be basically one of Master Chief's defected Spartans. So he left early on during training, and he basically, so Bokeem Woodbine is his name in real life. He basically became a pirate, but he's kind of half Spartan. He kind of wears his half Spartan armor, and he has that little weird arm.
I noticed that too. Okay, so that's why he was super new to me. Maybe I thought he was in the books, and I did want to ask you about that. So pretty much, it's him and Quan. They're going to look for Quan's. Well, they weren't looking for her aunt at first, but they were looking for her aunt to try to get some answers in terms of the revolution that they're trying to lead. I'm cool with that. Little does Quan know, like, she got to be incognito, like, all the time. She's wanted. They looking for Shouty, and they probably got some money up on her head. Because I read the little thing, and I couldn't read the language and nothing like that, but they pretty much said wanted. If you see her, let us know, et cetera, right? So the Covenant, long story short, for this portion of that story, the Covenant sends, who's that young lady? Because they send some girl out.
Yeah, it's almost like there's lore that's existing, but they're not necessarily spending time explaining. They're going yada yada. You know her. She's an assassin. Move on, kind of thing. And then they moved on off of it. Supposedly she's an assassin in that world who's I guess good enough to be able to come out there and get the target if you need her to. But they didn't really explain too much of a backstory.
So worse come to worse, when I thought all the people from Quan's army and Quan's dad's army, I thought they all were dead. Apparently they're not dead. They seek refuge on a different planet. Quan still thought that her family had money, which they don't now. And it was revealed by Quan's aunt that Quan's father wasn't exactly who he proclaimed himself to be, which I'm cool with. Like, I kind of want to see like what type of turn.
Where did it go?
I want to see exactly. I want to see what happened. Maybe he was coerced into being a different person.
So based on what you're telling me, like from what you're describing and my understanding of it, you are meeting this show where it is, and you're liking it. Am I mistaken? You're meeting the show where it is. It may not necessarily be beat for beat exactly. Oh, Halo this, Halo that. They're spending a lot of time on characters that don't necessarily have too much to do with the Halo lore itself. Quan and the others. They're spending a lot of time on on the Michigas of her family, and fighting against joining the Rebel Alliance or whatever, and trying to get their planet back. All of this stuff. These are the things that seemingly Halo purists are having a problem with. Because it's not really part of quote unquote Halo, as it were, right?
Yeah.
Like, because Halo really, they started there, but then aliens came, Covenant, and then they focused all their energy on humanity defending themselves against the Covenant. Whereas this show purports to spend a little time in between that. Hey, let's focus all our energies on the aliens, and are still killing each other a little bit. They're still fighting the rebellion versus the rebels versus the UNSC thing, which in the Halo games, they started there, at least in the Halo canon, and then as soon as the Covenant showed up, they went, oh, well, we have a bigger threat, so let's all focus our energy there and not focus too much here. I personally think that it's an interesting tale to tell. I think it's interesting that they're spending some time there and, opening it out, fleshing it out, more Game of Thrones-like of back and forth of politics and whatnot, instead of, big guns and whatnot. You know what I mean? Oh, and by the way, if you hear construction in my background, my construction people just started, so forgive me. I will mute it as much as I possibly can, but please continue. So did you ultimately take away from this show? Are you still on board? Are you still on the train? Or are you like off the train?
No. I like the show. I know we're going to talk more about episode 4.
Yeah.
There is the thing with the UNSC, blocking, pretty much putting the chip in a place of all the Spartans, and they're blocking their childhood memories on everything, and they're trying to control the Spartans. Catherine, to me, like, she's the enemy that she's the enemy. Like, we're gonna be real. She, like, just from like the subplot of the story of her blocking all of John's memories, right? He know that she blocked his memories, and he's kind of looking at her funny now, like, yeah, I know what you did to me. I know that you came around me when I was a kid and you tried to suppress that memory later on in that episode. I think that to me is like super dope. Who's the chick, the young lady who I don't know if it's blood in her hair. She looked like a Twitch streamer. The blonde girl. She
yeah, the one who puts the stuff in her hair.
Yes, I don't know what I thought it was blood. I don't know what the hell it was. Who was her name? Because like I found the character very interesting as well.
So she's also a made-up character, but she's supposed to be one of Master Chief Spartans that was part of the initial Spartan program that grew up with her, with the rest of them, right? And she, like him, takes out her chip, and starts experiencing humanity in real, right? And actually, like, to your point, that's why I like this show. They can't take some of the toys in the box that we already know, because the minute they touch the toy that we already know, people got questions. What you gonna do with that? Hey, we know he's supposed to be doing this. Oh, her hair is supposed to be like that. Oh, she's supposed to have a gun like this. So instead, they created new Spartans, new characters who are stand-ins for the characters that we supposedly know, Green Team or Blue Team or all the various ones that are in canon. And instead, they're playing with those. Instead, I personally think what they did with her in this episode was perfect, like top tier. Yes, show her as a robot, and then show her taking the chip out, and then show her turning from robot to human. Right? When you did that with Master Chief, it didn't go over well because people know Master Chief too well. People know, oh, that's not his voice. That's not how he's supposed to act. That's not how he's supposed to behave, right? But when you do that to her, you don't know her. She's not from the books. She's not from the games. And seeing her turn from Spartan to, hey, she's got a little bit of humanity. Hey, she's a little funny. Hey, she's very observant and is making like interesting observations of this world that she's in. Observations that we, the viewers, also are making. Right? She's becoming our surrogate. So I personally thought that they did a great job here, even though they're off of the main canon beaten path. Right? What they're doing here was perfect for me. I thought it was highly watchable. She made me excited for the next episode.
Yeah, this show, like, I love this episode in particular because, John, he took that chip out and everything, and he's starting to realize certain things. Yo, he didn't like Cortana, and I saw that in the very beginning. Like, he didn't like that. He's like, when he was speaking to the other Spartans, I believe in episode 2, I think it was, he was like, oh, that's just my AI. Oh, you can leave now. He it's taking some time for him to like really warm up to
I think that's great
Cortana
too.
Is. Yep.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to start. Yep, indeed.
And let's talk about another like sub thread, like the fact that, you know, like I said, Catherine ain't exactly the best person, right? She's literally having Cortana spy on Master Chief. Now, Master Chief, John, he's aware. Like, that's why he's chilling. Like, nah, I don't know you like that, Slim. But like, he's slowly but surely, with certain things that he's asking, certain things that Quan asked John in the very first episode, he's slowly, you know, he's getting Cortana to see like, yo, why is this wrong? Or why am
you
I
know
being
what
treated this
though?
way? You see what I'm saying? Like, that
Yeah.
is dope.
I will say though, one thing that they haven't changed or embellished too much is Catherine Halsey. She's always been this character. Like, she's been the best character in Halo for a long time. She is completely canon. She the manipulative way. She's genius. She's the smartest person in any room. She doesn't give a f about anybody or anything. She's just there to accomplish her task.
Talking Halo?
Oh yeah, we are. But we're about done. We're about done. But Halsey is exactly who she always has been, and she is that way here too. And I'm there for it. Perfectly cast. Perfect character.
Without me having seen the 4th episode, yay or nay? Good or bad?
Yay.
Oh, 100% yay. Me too. 100%.
1 second for me, okay?
Go ahead.
Better than 3?
I think it's on the path. They're heading up the right street of 3. 3 was okay. One was interesting. 2 disappointing. 3 got me in, and 4 I'm like, yep, I'm still here. Let's do it. This is great. Okay, I really do like it.
Still on the train. Now,
I do like
Paul Cassie wrote something about Halo not being off to a great start. Did you see that article?
I did not see that article. No.
Okay.
Expound a little bit.
No. I just saw the headline while I was on my way back to the thing, so I was hoping you read it.
No, I did not read it. But see, to me, if you've watched so far all of these episodes, and your first instinct is they're not off to a good start and I don't like it, that tells me you're a purist, and that's okay.
No,
but this might not be for you.
I don't think it necessarily means you're like a purist. Like I'm generally positive on this show. I think I'm it's like a 7.5 for me, but I'm not one of those people where something has to be a 10 or it's trash, right? So 7.5 is actually a good score for me and worth continuing to watch. And I think there's a lot of room to grow. So I would say 8 is about 8. I would say episode 4 is about an 8.5. It's still around that. It's heading down that path. It's very good. It's very good. Like I said, I don't want to keep reiterating my issues with the show, which is the disjointed production value, because sometimes it feels like a CW show, sometimes it feels like The Expanse. So
you won't have a problem with that this episode because they spend a lot more time on characters and a lot less time on action, and they do better in that. So you don't have to deal with that CG-ness.
Honestly, that's where my bread and butter is. I want the character work, right? So I don't need everything. So for example, there's people right now, because Pedro Pascal said he specifically didn't play the Last of Us game, and people are upset.
Yeah, Hustle just mentioned that. I'm like, they fell into the same trap they did with the Halo show. You ain't got to say that. Stop saying that.
But so what if he says it, right? Like a lot of our favorite comic book actors that play our favorite MCU characters and DC characters, they didn't read the comics before they got into it.
Yeah, but they're also not ones.
Batman comics back when he was a kid, right? Like that's not.
But you know what? And forgive the loud banging. Forgive me. But the point is, you didn't hear Kristen Bell go, "Nah, man, I ain't read the comics" when they were interviewing. They sidestep when you talk to them about.
Yeah, but
I always,
I personally. Because I don't like to get the finesse, right? So anytime I hear an actor saying, "Oh, this was my favorite comic growing up," I'm like, "Yeah, sure it was." Right? I'm looking for you to do a good job acting. It is a script. You got the script. You act the script.
So here's a bit of pushback on that point, though, right? Then you hear somebody like Superman. You hear somebody like, what's his name, Henry Cavill, go, "I love The Witcher, read all the books, and look what he does with the character. He knows that character, right?" So there might be a bit of help on that. You know what I'm saying?
You don't think a younger Mads Mikkelsen? I don't even think he needs to be younger, because that guy doesn't age.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Just because he watched it or was a part of knew the character doesn't mean that those who don't know the character can't play that role. They definitely can.
And that's the thing. As a performer, sometimes knowing exactly where the thing is going to go, that can affect your performance, and sometimes you don't want that to be the case. You want to feel like you're experiencing this while you're acting it. So I get it. What your concern is with watching any adaptations, whether it's Last of Us or Halo, should be that the actors are all bringing their A game. The script is good, and that everyone is giving top tier performances. Whether they read the source material is honestly irrelevant.
True, very true.
Well, okay. I do want to say this. When it comes to something like The Last of Us, that's 10 years in, right? It's 10 years worth of history there, because it came out 2013, if I remember correctly. For that actor, for that gentleman to say, for Pedro Pascal to say, man, I don't really, know nothing about Joel, dog. Yo, YouTube it or something, dog. Like, cause you, like that. I would argue much more. Like,
that's a PR blunder. If nothing else, that is a PR blunder, in my humble. Even if you didn't watch it or read it or play the game, fine. But to say that is a PR blunder.
You can't say that based off of a story, based off of a game, which the narrative was his main driving point in The Last of Us. Halo, I ain't gonna say Halo not so much, and I'm not gonna say that Halo doesn't have a story. We were talking behind the scenes. I understand why people are upset behind a lot of that, but there aren't too many different versions of The Last of Us. Yes, there is a novel. I think it was like a 4-issue novel, if I remember right. Then there's the game, but you gotta.
Real quick, Splendiferous is getting at you, man. He's asking you if all this Xbox talk is draining your energy.
No. I stepped away because we having a family get together today. So
he's being messy. Yeah. He's being messy. That's what he does.
That's my dog. He alright, but no. But it's just one of those things where pay attention to the source material, especially on something that's heavily this is big on the narrative.
Narrative heavy. Yeah, yep, like, absolutely.
That's The Last of Us. You can't take a few of them liberties. Oh, look, if they take a few of them creative liberties, listen, I'm here for it. I'm here for the Halo stuff. But also, we're not gonna sit up here and act like Joel wasn't like one of the strongest characters in gaming in 2013. So you can't, Joel and Ellie for that matter. Joel and Ellie. Look, listen, if the young lady who's playing Ellie, she come out and say that, boy, this show might be so mid. And we don't like. Here's the thing: even though I didn't play The Last of Us 2, what I know about it is, Abby and her family. They may take like certain flashbacks to show her as a child too. We don't know yet. But for Pedro Pascal to say that, like, oh, come on, homie, you got the
PR blunder. PR blunder. Right. You ain't gotta say that. You can be about that. Just you ain't gotta say it. Like, just don't say it.
The game ain't even that long. Like, dog, the game ain't even that long. Yeah, like, no, just play it on Explore.
And the narrative, and that game and its narrative is so strong that it basically spurred on a series. You have to give it the respect of saying something, or not saying anything at all if you haven't partaken in that experience. Go ahead, Everborn.
Let me add a little bit to this. So the thing, I think Last of Us and Halo are two different animals, right? Because the Last of Us, and it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt it, right? Because firstly, I don't think, no matter what it is, whether it is super faithful to the games or it is charting its own course, HBO doesn't do mid stuff, right? That's just not, like, I don't think it would be on HBO if it was just going to be basic. Like, we may not like it. I'm not saying everybody likes everything HBO does, but they do not do mid quality or low quality stuff on HBO, right? Like, they tell strong stories, and it doesn't mean that every story is for everyone, but that's the point. A good story shouldn't be for everyone, I think, anyway. Now, that being said, Last of Us, like you said, Kay Asante, is a very strong narrative. It has a very specific point of view. The lore to it happens mostly. It's a character-driven story, and it's not much in the way of lore. it's like what that story is what's on screen in the game. Whereas Halo, a lot of the lore takes place off screen. It takes place in the books. It takes place in the comics. It takes place in all of this ancillary material. So there's fertile ground to do more things and take more liberties in Halo, I think, than there is for The Last of Us. But the problem is with The Last of Us, do we just want a live action recreation of the game? I don't think anyone wants that.
No, not at all. But just all right, look, this show has been in development for quite some time, so of course they can't just up and just like change plans. But I will say that hopefully they're watching what Halo's going through right now, the TV show. Hopefully they're learning something from it, because yeah, you can tell your own story and that's cool, but again, like you got something that's the story. That's what Naughty Dog does. They know how to tell a good story. Excuse me. I don't know if it can exactly be pulled off. And to your point though, Everborn, now HBO don't put out no mid shows from Oz to The Wire, Boardwalk Empire. That list will go on and on and on. My concern with this being on HBO is how they finish it, because as we know, HBO don't really know how to finish a show. Like
they know how to take the plane off, but they never know how to land. Boy.
Is The Last of Us story finished?
No, it sold what it sold the first time around. Even the second time around with the second game, I don't think so. I think that if you will have an ending for it, the right ending is Ellie. Ooh, do I want to spoil that? Well,
I think the statute of limitations is already over. At least part one, anyway.
I mean, but we're not talking about part like. I guess, does the first season of this show, The Last of Us, does it take us all the way to the end of the first game where Joel makes that decision?
I think so. I think so.
You don't think there's enough ground there for them to drag that out for?
They can do that. They can do that 2 seasons for sure. They can do that for 2 seasons, depending on how long the show will last. And that's like my concern, right? Nobody really knows how successful this show may be. I'm gonna watch it day one because I'm just a fan of like Last of Us Part 1 anyway. So I'm gonna watch it day one, and I'm gonna just have my cat eye. My cat eye gonna be on that joint. So I'm gonna make sure that it's gonna hit on whatever level it's supposed to hit on. If it like Halo's got a second season, underway. Like, and that was based off of the first episode,
right?
So I have a strong feeling that this is going to be picked up for multiple seasons as well, regardless of what.
Most likely, yeah. Most likely. Yep.
So it's like, how do you tell that? Then?
Hold on a minute. I'm not saying you're wrong, right? But remember, Warner Brothers.
Say I'm wrong. It's cool. Go ahead.
No. That's not what I mean.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a given that Last of Us gets picked up for a second season.
I would strongly disagree.
And I'll tell. It depends on how far they go in the story.
Mm-hmm.
But again, with Last of Us, the thing to think of is the Warner Brothers Discovery deal just closed. There's a lot of shakeup happening over there. They even just put all the DC stuff into their own studio, which why the hell hadn't they done that before? Super weird. But anyway, do the new bosses at does the new regime at Warner Brothers believe this is something they want to continue to invest in? And I think that's going to have to do with how well the show does. So I don't know if it's guaranteed, because what I'm saying is we're under new management with WB, and do they want to keep putting money into that thing? So if it delivers,
that does change the equation. Absolutely,
then sure, they'll do another season. But I don't know if it's written in stone that initiative is going to get another season. I got a friend of mine whose comic got picked up for a pilot at HBO, and because of all the shifting, you should check it out. By the way, it's I got it right back there.
You're not. Your camera's not shown, so we don't see it.
Of course, it's not. But like right back there, the black books there. But anyway, Sebastian Jones. Google him. He has a great set of. He's telling a great story there. But anyway, they picked this stuff up for a pilot, and they're still kind of trying to make that. And I gotta reach out to him again because I don't know where they are with that. But there's a lot of plates that are spinning because things are changing hands. So I don't know what happens with The Last of Us. That's what I'm saying.
So, okay, gentlemen, let us move on. Let's not belabor the point too much because I want to keep this show tight this week. Right. 2 hours if we can make it happen. Let us move quickly along. And again, forgive me if you hear some noise because the construction is hot and heavy in my apartment. But the show must go on.
Stranger Comics, by the way. Check it out.
Stranger Comics. Okay.
After you go to everbornsaga.com, but
yes, then check out strangercomics.com. So okay. So I'll set the stage on our next topic, and then I'll leave you guys to discuss it because I don't want this noise getting in here too much. But let me set up the stage here. We now see, and now we're moving along quickly to Cyberpunk, and not just Cyberpunk, but CDPR in general, right? We are now seeing that 18 million copies have been sold, and The Witcher is up to 40 million copies, right? And of course, a side story is the fact that we also have CDPR saying that their Witcher 3 is being delayed because of various reasons. I guess I'll start with you, Everborn, if we can start it up.
Yeah.
Do you think CDPR has turned the ship around from the cyberpunk issues that were hot and heavy in the beginning? Do you think this is a sign that they've turned things around, or is there still a world where CDPR is done?
I don't think they're done, but I can't co-sign them having righted the ship when they're basically saying, hey, that next gen update for The Witcher 3, you're not getting that anytime soon.
But let's be clear here. The reason why you're not getting that anytime soon is because they contracted Saber Interactive to make that next gen patch, and of course, where does Saber Interactive have their offices? Russia. The team making this game for their upgrade is in Russia. And of course, we all know why that's a problem today. So because of that, they're delaying it and bringing it in-house so that they can continue driving it home.
So
versus...
Who's making the next Cyberpunk DLC?
Also in-house. Hence the delays, right? They were outsourcing, as they do, right? As companies do, outsourcing it to the various satellite studios and the third-party contract studios that'll take on DLCs and they'll take on next-gen patches and this and that. Their resources that they've been tapping for many years until now have been in Russia, right? Russian studios have been doing a lot of that work, helping them get there. And now, of course, for various obvious reasons, they no longer can tap that Russian resource. So they have to bring it all in-house. Hence, delays.
Right, but so this is what I mean. Like, they need all they've been doing right now is patches and bug fixes, right? Like, until they can ship anything, whether it's in the form of DLC for Cyberpunk or a next gen upgrade for The Witcher or something.
They did speak on DLC for Cyberpunk yesterday, and they did speak on the fact that it will be story DLC, like a big expansion.
Okay,
so
when are we gonna get it? Right, that's the point, right? Like, so I don't think that we can say they've righted the ship yet because they haven't set sail in any direction yet, right? They had there's no point. All they did was fix the bugs for Cyberpunk, and I'm not minimizing that.
And let's be clear here. Fix, it's better now.
Okay, address.
It's better now.
They've addressed some of the bugs for Cyberpunk, right? So, like, let them ship something again. Let's see how it fares, and then we can say whether they're out of the woods or not. And this reminder that they've sold 40 million copies of The Witcher, their greatest hit, right? Like, that's great that you did that, but what does that have to do with the way you ship Cyberpunk, and what does that have to do with whatever the things you promised now? And I get it, there's world issues going on, like those things are more important than making games. That's fine, but if we're talking about whether CDPR is out of the wood yet, I think that answer is no. But I do support them and what they do, and I think that it's a shame that Cyberpunk didn't get some of the love I think it deserved because they made something great. but I don't think they're out of the woods yet. I don't think we can say that.
I agree with you on that.
With a straight face.
How about you, Mr. Hustler Motivate? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on CDPR? Are you a CDPR guy with this news? Are you happy? Did you play Cyberpunk? Do you think that they should be given another chance now that it looks like they've solved most of said issues, and they're still planning on bringing more DLC to Cyberpunk while still looking to what do you call it? Unreal 5 for Witcher 4.
They are where they should have been in December of 2020.
Yeah. As far as me being a fan, I never played The Witcher 3. I own it. I just haven't played it. Just really wasn't my thing. I was excited for Cyberpunk, given the world that it offers, right? But it started off. Let's just say, and I'm being nice about it. It started off less than stellar. I only played it for like 3.5 hours. I kind of wasn't feeling it. Also, it's important to mention that. Listen. That game came out the way that it did, and it wasn't all CDPR's fault. The government kind of stepped in and was like, no, y'all going to have to make this. And they kind of put them on a certain deadline, the Poland government. It kind of made them do that. A lot of things happened with this game. I said this on the Addict Show. They're going to have to get far away from this game as soon as possible because no matter how many copies it sold, it started off so bad. It started off abysmally. We're just gonna be real. It started off, and a lot of people bought it. I bought it, and I didn't return it. Y'all remember when PlayStation took it off their store? PlayStation said, "Nah, this ain't up to snuff."
You could buy it for $5 on PlayStation at some point.
Yep, it recently just went on sale. So I mean, like that number is cool when you say 18 million plus, and that's cool. But y'all gonna have to CDPR. They're gonna have to hurry up and get away from this. Period. I wasn't aware that they were working on the story DLC. I wasn't aware. That's cool. If this joint came out like halfway decent on consoles, at least on PC, it was still playable. Slobo was like one of the first people I knew who beat it. But
so that you understand what they do, right? Historically, when they released like The Witcher 3, it was a huge game, right? And then the DLC that they released for The Witcher 3 was bigger than the base game. Like Blood and Stone and I forget the name of the other DLC.
Blood and Wine.
Bigger than the Blood and Wine, exactly.
I thought you were going to say lilac and gooseberries.
Lilac and gooseberry. Yeah, it was bigger than the standard. And it seems that that's where they may go here. Whereas the story of Cyberpunk, those who love it, really love it. Shout out to Eternal Umbra. He's out here saying he put 459 hours into that game. I'm probably not too far away from that number because it's a great place to be, that world.
It is, and you can just get lost in that world. And this is why I want them to release a Blood and Wine type of update for that. That is what would bring me back to that world. But I'm not going back just because they fixed some bugs, right? Like I played it on PC because of all those bugs. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm checking my.
It seems that with this news, you're not going to hear that they've closed up shop anytime soon. They're still out there, and they're going to continue to be out there.
Right?
Can we agree to that?
3 hours in this game, not including anything I did on console. So just on Steam, I got 83 hours.
There you go.
But so I'm here for it, right? I was not a Cyberpunk hater. I thought they put together something special. But they dug themselves so deep. Like, just look at their stock price right now. And I feel like we sold 40 million and 18 millions of what do you call is probably more to address that than anything else. Like we don't got no content for you, but look how much money we made, right?
Yeah,
indeed, yes, indeed.
I look at Cyberpunk and it's like the greatest miss in recent history.
But it was a good game, though.
Well, I'm not saying that it was bad. It's just like the way that you see, this is why I'm extremely careful the way I promote myself and build myself up. Because if you drop something and it don't live up to that expectation, it's getting cyberpunked at that point. Like it was bad. It was bad by how it came out, and I was excited for that game. I got videos on my channel in regards to Cyberpunk, and I got a whole little collection with it. Like
what you
I was looking forward to. What's up?
What you said is important right there. It's basically become a verb, right? Or an adjective, I guess. You got cyberpunk, right? That is the term now for when you come in hot.
If you do ill work, if you look at me wrong, I might Will Smith you. If you don't do the hard work, you might get Cyberpunk. These are the verbs that are out here in this world. You know what I'm saying?
So you know, like maybe that's an adjective, but I don't know. Whatever, this isn't an English class. But the point is, like, that is a problem, right? The game has such, even though it's a great game, has such a stink on it that it will forever be used to describe any game that comes out too early, comes in hot, does not live up to the hype. That, like, they are going to have to work to get that stink off them, and it's not just going to be one story update or a next gen patch.
I agree with you on that. Okay, so I have two more stories I want to talk to you about, but I dropped this one in here because I saw Everborn going crazy on this on the internet. So I kind of want you to drive this one real quick, okay? And then we'll get to the main story, which happens to be PlayStation, because we got a good PlayStation representative here too. So it'll be good to talk about that. But before we get there, right, we saw this news happen. And I saw Everborn losing his mind on the damn internet on Twitter with this.
I did not actually say any of that publicly. That was
okay. No, great. Then in that case, please, because I got the broad strokes. I got the broad strokes, but you know, my work was busy, my life was busy, so I didn't really get to dive deep into what was going on here. So please, give me the broad strokes of this, and we'll touch on this real quick before we head to the main story. But it seems that there's a contingent of shareholders that currently hold shares for the Activision Blizzard stocks who are advocating hard that this Xbox deal not come through. Go ahead and expound on that, Everborn. What happened?
Because firstly, I know that's a big headline, and I know a lot of people ran with that headline, but they own 0.6% of the company, right? So, you know, they're either angling to.
So what you're saying is this is the Twitter contingent yelling, basically.
I mean, yeah, and there's a lot of people, and I think this also exposed a lot of people who claim to not care about this deal, or who are actually like afraid of what the outcome will be when this deal goes through. A lot of them expose themselves with this, right? We won't name any names, but a lot of people went with this headline saying, please don't let this deal close and things like that. So the thing is, firstly, I just think whether the deal closes or doesn't close, Twitter is going to be a fantastic place whenever that news comes out on the closing or non-closing. And I'm all the way here for it, either way it goes. That being said, and I said this to Boom the other day when we were talking on the phone, this is a nearly $70 billion deal. If you think investors aren't going to be investors and try to wrangle every dollar out of this that they can, and that politicians aren't going to, you know, use this for whatever advantage that they can, then I have a bridge to sell you, right? That's really what this is. The deal is so... It doesn't matter what it is. This is important to us because we talk about video games. But this could be in any industry. It is a $70 billion deal. When you have deals of that size, you will have investors that either think they didn't get enough. You will have investors that want to stay independent, which the investors really just want to make money. But I don't know that this holds any weight in terms of that vote on the 26th later this month. And now, that being said, that vote could go either way, but I think the board members at Activision are pushing for it because I think they're going to owe Microsoft something like $2 or $3 billion if they can't get the votes, right? And then if the FTC doesn't approve the deal, then Microsoft is going to owe Activision that $2 or $3 billion. So the question is, can the board members convince at least half of the shareholders that this deal is a good thing? So because if they can't, then we are in for a roller coaster ride. That's the one. I made that.
I love this one. This is the great. This is the greatest chart.
Yeah.
I was already in front of Excel.
I'm part of the 99, by the way. I'm part of the 99, by the way. But yes, I agree with you.
And it's inaccurate, but that's Excel's fault because it should be 0.6. It's not even 1%. These guys hold. But anyway.
Yeah. So this is basically a non-story, is what you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. But again, that is not indicative of whether I'm just saying it's not indicative of whether the deal will go through or not go through, right? The shareholder vote could go either way, right? Because again, Wall Street is going to Wall Street and people are greedy and maybe they think Microsoft could afford to pay more, right? Because Microsoft, if you look at the documents that they released, right? Microsoft was technically willing to go as high as I think 105 per share, right? And they settled on 95. So maybe there are investors that are saying, I want to try to drive the share price higher, the price per share offered higher, right? So instead of a $68.7 billion deal, maybe they want to turn it into a $75 billion deal. I don't know, but does Microsoft want to change that? Does Microsoft want to?
And you know what? To your point about it being not a big deal, when this whole deal first started, I did hear Jez Corden speaking to the fact that there would be a small contingent that would be vocal about it because obviously they bought in way back when it had risen in value quite substantially, and obviously even though it's a big like round number when you think about it, Microsoft got in a damn good deal based off of what it was beforehand, right? So some of these investors feel slighted because Microsoft got in when the getting was good, and now it's like, well, we could have gotten more money out of you. Hold on. Go ahead.
Here's the thing, though, right? Mm-hmm. They were on a downward spiral for the last.
Of course they were. Of course they were. But that's the money man. The money men don't want to make that argument because that means they lose their money, right? They don't want you to see that part. They just want you to see we were making money and then Microsoft offered us less. Right. They want that Bobby Kotick stuff that we were heading down a downward spiral. There was news that people were suing us. All that is yada yada yada. No. That has nothing to do with it. We were making money and then Microsoft offered us less. That's all they care about. But the context is what's going to make them not even lose. This is not going to be a case because of the context.
But on January 14th, before the deal was announced, Wall Street does not know about Microsoft plus Activision Blizzard King. The share price was $65 at that time, right? Now, you could argue it was on an upswing because in the time when they were negotiating the deal, back on, let's say, December 15th, and you can go and look at this in Yahoo Finance right now. Go look at Activision. You can see what the stock price was over the
course. It's all public record. Right. You can see every single day. Yep.
When Microsoft made the offer of $95 a share, the share price was $58. That's when they were negotiating. They had already signed the deal.
That's how far that they had fallen off a cliff. And if you think about it, them coming back to somewhat of a normalcy number is part and parcel because of Microsoft showing confidence in trying to acquire them. It is because of that. Yes, it is because of that.
$79 right now. Now, you also have to look at that, right? If they're going to sell for $95 a share, why is it not trading at $95 a share? Because that's guaranteed money. Now, this is where you will get your I guess reasonable minds can throw caution to the wind, where you say Wall Street doesn't believe 100% that this deal will close, or else the share price would be, the stock would be trading at $95 a share. It is not. So there's some people that think there is some level of risk of it not closing. Now, most people, because it's trading closer to it is trading closer to the sale price than it is to the previous price before the announcement of the sale. So most people do believe on Wall Street that the deal will go through.
So you know what, Everborn?
I think
you know what? Honestly, I think the reason why the reason why there's like a Wall Street
from the closing, and
yeah, I think the reason why where Wall Street is not as confident is because they don't pay attention to gaming as much as they do other industries, so they don't feel as confident that Microsoft could make it happen or whatnot. I honestly think it's a lack, and that also speaks to why certain senators are coming out saying statements that kind of don't align with what was going on. They don't really pay close attention to this industry, and because of that, they don't have a full understanding of what's expected.
I'm going to disagree with you in terms of them not paying attention. They very much do pay. They're not paying attention to the games that are coming out, but they are.
They pay attention to the money being used,
right?
The money being dropped, of course.
To the fundamentals of every company, right? Yeah. And they're looking at because a product is for sale is a product for sale. This is how much money you make.
But what I mean by they don't pay attention. But what I mean by they don't pay attention, like you and I call the balls and strikes, and we're seeing the Activision Blizzard stock crater, which we know why. We know the logistics. We've been a part of it. We've seen the various tumultuous situations they're going through, as far as the Bill Cosby rooms and all the other ridiculous things that we've heard and paid attention to all these years that have gotten them where they are. Wall Street does not pay attention to those. They pay attention to, Microsoft is willing to put this much money up for this company. Yes, we know they're a gaming business, but is gaming really at that level where $70 billion is? It's like their eyes are opening to all of this.
It's not that. Wall Street knows that gaming is that. They know, they see the money being pumped into it. They are in the calls where people are trying to finance.
Sure they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they
are. I'm saying they may not understand the content, but they do understand the business of it. And all I'm saying is there are people in Wall Street, big investors, that are not entirely sure the deal will go through, or else they would
be more confident in investing in it. I understand.
And
what do you think,
Hustle? So it could go either way. All I'm saying is Twitter is going to be a magnificent shit show.
Cesspool. I'm going to enjoy the troglodyte conversations. The troglodyte conversations are going to be amazing. Go ahead, Hustle.
So you guys are because you guys are educating me on this. You said it was 6% of the investors they only own 6%.
0.6%.
Point. Oh, not even 1.
0.6. This ain't no conversation then, man. Like, I get why people got to write them articles and they got to do what they do and they got to put the salacious title because you got to get people to click on it. Cool. I get that, but man, everybody worry about your little 0.6.
That's right.
0.6.
0.6. Yeah.
Come on, dog.
0.6.
Worry about that.
I do want to be clear. I would like to own 0.6% of $70 billion.
Hey, oh yeah.
So would I. But I refuse to let that minority be so vocal for me to.
That's right.
I wouldn't waste my time, but I guess
now you see why I call it the Twitter contention. Go ahead.
That ain't no thing. But here's what I will say about this deal in general. I believe that Microsoft, to still align for 50 Cent, they lawyers, they strongest linebackers. I don't think that they would even approach this deal, even put the amount of money that they put up if they thought that it wouldn't go through. Well, also, what's up?
So I hear that point and I agree with it. However, every merger and acquisition is not announced and ink is not signed unless both parties think it's going to go through, right? So it's not like, of course, they think and believe it can get done. That's why they signed the deal. But there are a lot of other factors. Like right now, this 0.6%. Like, do you guys watch Succession?
No, I'm not familiar.
Great yes, show. I have. I've seen Succession. Yes.
All about mergers and acquisitions, but drama.
Basically, yes, right? Yes. And by the way, this is the next story we're going to, and this will be our main topic of conversation before the end of the show. Go ahead, finish your point, everyone.
So the point is, that SOC investment group or whoever they are, they could be on the phone with other shareholders now trying to rally people to their side saying, no, we could get more money for this, right? So they're the vocal ones. Are they on the phone with other people and can they get support? And if they can they get 51% support?
See, and you know what? Although I agree with you, Everborn, every company comes to these things presumably seeming that they can handle it because every lawyer says, yeah, I got this. But when the only part of the puzzle where I will push back just a little bit and then we'll move on is, when Apple, when Microsoft, when Amazon, when Tencent says they're doing anything, everyone pays attention because they have threaded the needle and gone farther with their business model than anyone else has ever, right? These are the robber barons of their day, right? These are the guys who have traversed, they have gotten to the mountaintop and then built their own mountains. So when they say, hey, we're doing this.
Even then, Microsoft specifically has never done anything this big.
True.
Never in the history of the company.
Very true. True, yes. So it's not a foregone conclusion. There are no people in the house that just know how it's done. Oh, yeah, we got this. It's all up in the air. But if there's anyone that could potentially make this happen, it's your Microsofts, your Apples, your Googles, your Amazons, the ones that have T's next to their names. And by T's, I mean trillions. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're the ones that can make this happen because all of this starts and ends by how powerful your lawyering arm can be. And they have an infinite arm of lawyering arms. You know what I'm saying? So if they really want to push the envelope, they can. It's just how much money and time will it take?
How powerful the Microsoft gaming division will be if this thing goes through?
It will be monumental. It'll be a shift in gaming fundamentally, like from the ground up. They'll go from, oh, they were this third party, yeah, the third in line, we're doing their best, they got money, so they're throwing at it, to, oh yeah, now they run this. This is their industry now.
And that's regardless if it remains first party, if this still does
go regardless,
through, even if they keep it won't. Yes. Yeah, it wouldn't matter.
And actually, because they're heading in that direction, it will behoove them to keep it third party, to keep it multiplayer, because they're the big dog in the room. And if you're going to start taking your ball and going home, they can't play some of the games that Sony can play because they are a lesser, smaller company.
But
you know what I'm saying?
I mean, and I know we're going to move on, but I'll just say this. Hopefully,
you get the last word. Go ahead.
Even if the games on the screen stay multiplayer, right?
Yep.
Even if that is the case. What about all the other games? What about the
IPs?
New games? What about those studios helping the existing studios? What happens when Activision is fully integrated and you have all those resources going towards the same goal? What are the new IPs that get created? What are they?
Let me answer Victor Alistine real quick. He says Google doesn't have a T, about $600 billion, but the parent company does. True, but the difference with Google specifically is they knew
is Google,
exactly. Right? That's the difference with Google than anyone else. This is not Bethesda being purchased by Microsoft. This is Bethesda recognizing that they're going to be seen as Microsoft, so they create their own Microsoft to hide underneath. That's what Google did. Google is Google, and then they created Alphabet to go, we're just this little $600 billion company. No. They are Alphabet. They are the trillions that you see.
Right,
they just try to hide it.
Pulled Alphabet out of their asses.
Out of their butts. That's right. They pulled it out of their butts so that they can hide behind it. That's what Google did. So they are different. It's because Google doesn't want to be a big dog. Yes, they want to stay underneath it.
They want to be able to shut down their skunkworks projects at will. So if Google Fi isn't working, they'll say, oh, right, that's done, and it's not going to drain on the profits of the main moneymaker, Google or YouTube, right? Anything that they want to.
And for the record, Victor, the reason why I know this is because I had Google stock, and then they divested the stock and they created the Alphabet stock. I made a killing in that. We'll just leave that there and we'll keep it moving. I made a killing in that, but let's continue. Let's get to the last story of the day before we close up, because we are at an hour and 55 minutes. That glorious 2-hour window. We're so close. Anyway, let us finish up. Now, this is not the final story of the day, but I think I want to combine this with the final story of the day because we had such a prolific PlayStation gamer on the show today. I wanted to, this was a story that was making the rounds, and it'll continue to make the rounds. But I want to talk about this in the effect of how is PlayStation doing today. And I'll start with you, Hustle and Motivate. Besides they might be buying Kojima. I'm not sure that's happening. It is what it is. It was all rumor and speculation. But in the grand scheme of things, it looks like PlayStation is ready to pull something off, right? Every week it's, hey, hold on to your butts. Something's about to go down, right? So, in your humble estimation, a man that keeps an eye on the PlayStation perch, as it were, a man that, represents the PlayStation brand pretty well, I say, out there in the streets.
That's
What
right.
is your opinion, both on this specific are they buying Kojima Productions, and what PlayStation has been doing in 2022 so far? What is your opinion? Go ahead.
Well, as far as them buying Hideo Kojima studio, no, they won't. But they did fund, and I think they own Death Stranding, the IP, and that's why you kind of saw like what you have on screen now. That's why you see what you see. Is because I know they funded it. For the record, I do believe, and I want y'all to correct me if I'm wrong, they funded Street Fighter V as well. Do they own Street Fighter V?
Indeed.
Do they own Street Fighter V?
Well, for all intents and purposes, they kind of do. But okay, I see your point. Yes.
But are they getting ready to buy Capcom? And I know that's a rumor.
No,
the point is they don't.
Of course,
own Capcom.
Of course. Yeah.
Well, I was more confused when I saw this first pop up because y'all remember back in the day, and shout out to the Xbox fans who was like looking at Phil Spencer's desk and just breaking down this whole desk and that stuff that he had on that shelf that he had. Wasn't he supposed to do something with Microsoft in terms of the cloud? Because that was a rumor that was floating around as well. And
even after this rumor came out, Jeff Grubb came back out and said, well, as recently as a couple of weeks ago, that whole rumor of Kojima working with Xbox is still a rumor that is still valid based on Grubb's people. So it's still all in the air, right? It's still, as recently as yesterday, I saw his show, Jeff Grubb, and he was saying, hey, this to his understanding, that is still something that is in the works. So, we don't know where this is all going.
Well, first of all, shout out to Jeff Grubb. But I will say this, man. Like when I saw that yesterday, I kind of looked at my phone. I was like, nah, I don't think that was a thing. And then we actually, the day before yesterday, when his story broke, and then Kojima had came out and said, nah. I don't know what y'all thought it was.
Yeah.
But this is what it is. Like.
I don't understand. I don't understand why people don't understand this. I mean, you've seen Ori and the Will of the Wisp, where Ori and the Blind Forest be featured as a primary first party game. Doesn't mean they own Moon Studios. They don't own Moon Studios, right? No. You've seen them. There have been on the Xbox side. You've seen many a game be represented as if it was part of first party, but that's probably because they helped fund it, just like this, right?
It's like they funded Cuphead, did they not? Or am I wrong?
They did. They did, 100%. They funded Cuphead. Same thing.
Cuphead
exactly.
Everywhere else. So
exactly. Yeah. So that's what made me go, this is a non-story. But it does speak to a broader story of, hey, depending on the day, PlayStation's either tip of the spear or they effing up and people need to do something about it. Like it changes on an hourly basis. So for you who primarily games there, you have a lot of conversations about it. What do you see in 2022? How are they on the decline? Should they be doing more? Are you confident? Are you like sitting back like, yep, we good? But where do you fall?
I'll say that they should be doing more. If you come out with the Spartacus thing, and if regardless of what you say, it's direct competition with Game Pass, and it's competition with Nintendo's online service too. Regardless of what you say about what Spartacus is, it fell a little flat because now they're making you pay for demos if you want the premium tier, which I never was cool with anyway, because how PlayStation got their start by packing in demos for certain games. Like, just if you got a PlayStation, you had a demo disc. That's just what that was. Now they're making you pay for that. I said L on PlayStation's part, but I feel like their fans need to be a hell of a lot more vocal. Pardon me. They need to be a lot more vocal in terms of, hey, we don't like this. We're not going for this. As far as the games coming out this year, I mean, we ain't heard nothing about God of War, unless we'll hear something in June about it when E3, when all that stuff goes on, the summer of gaming with Jeff Keighley, when all that stuff goes on. If we don't hear nothing about God of War, that's not dropping this year. Now it's supposed to come out this year too. So, like, I don't know, man. Look, listen, of course I'm a fan of PlayStation. Hey, don't get it twisted. I'm a fan of Xbox and PC too. I'm just not a fan of Nintendo, their recent stuff. But here's what I'll say: are they fumbling in terms of sales? No, they're still outperforming all the competition. In my humble opinion, they're outperforming everybody, regardless of what those VG numbers say about Xbox. They're still outperforming everybody, but they still gotta. I feel like they need to stay out the news. I understand you got to make news sometime to stay relevant, but I feel like it's. In the eyes of the media, PlayStation, it's almost like they're the bad guys, and Microsoft
It's like
came up. Like,
it's like the company that used to be like marketing masters. It's like they fired everybody at the end of PS4. I don't get it. It's like they fired everybody. Now all of a sudden, the people. It's almost like they fired everybody out of PS4, and then Microsoft bought them all, like hired them all, right? So now they know how to speak to the consumer. But the company who's made their bones speaking to the consumer all this time has lost that capability all of a sudden. It's very unusual.
I also want to mention this in terms of games, in terms of like the actual games that PlayStation dropped, they don't really hit their stride, seem like mid-gen. So a lot of the stuff that's going on now, Microsoft, it seems like for the very first time, they're taking prime advantage of all of this. So shout out to Microsoft for that. Shout out to Xbox for that, because that all of the stuff they're doing, like with Game Pass, and they're pushing Game Pass and the day and date releases and things of that nature, that helps. It helps. Up until we see an Uncharted 5. I'm assuming we see that. We see whatever Naughty Dog is working on. Up until that moment, for me, that's when that's when the heat gonna get turned on. And shout out to God of War, like Sony Santa Monica. We was talking about that earlier. But we ain't seen nothing from it yet. We ain't seen nothing yet. So we just kind of waiting. We're just really waiting around. But they're still doing their thing, even though we're all just waiting on the games and the titles.
On that note, though, right? And I think what's interesting about what Microsoft is doing right now is when Sony starts to hit that mid-gen stride, right? When the hits, like the real next-gen hits are happening because the install base warrants it. By that time, maybe if it does happen, Activision is closed, right? Like Obsidian and In Exile and all of these guys, like those games are actually coming out, right? Activision is in the house. So it's like all this that Microsoft is doing is almost like it's preparing for that time, right? Because these things don't really take effect. But could you imagine a world when Avowed and Hellblade 2 and whatever Activision games they put out, whatever Coalition's new game is out, whatever Compulsion Games is out, like that is the time when they'll truly need to be out, because that is when PlayStation will be.
And to your point, Everborn, Deploy 619 is agreeing with you. Microsoft actually started slow. They haven't even hit their stride yet. So while they're getting there, this is his point. While they're getting there, they're getting to their stride point. PlayStation's also catching that. So it's going to be very interesting to see when all of those studios like catch their stride. And now PlayStation, and we all know it was acquisition season. It just happened to be acquisition season for PlayStation. They now have a very good stable of studios, in addition to the amazing stable they had already, to counteract that narrative. So, I'm saying 2023, 2024 will be very, very interesting indeed. Like, it should change the game, like all over the place, both gaming and how gaming is talked about, how gaming is shown off, your E3 kind of conferences and stuff. All that will be changing very, very soon because of all the the upheaval that's happening right now with E3 and all these other things. But it will be very interesting to see how the platforms themselves continue differentiating themselves while they're getting closer and closer in alignment of services and features. They're getting closer. PlayStation's great at that first-person narrative. Xbox is buying up studios and getting their ducks in a row, trying to get there. Xbox is great at the service games. PlayStation's buying up studios, trying to get there. They're speaking differentiation, but when you see action, they're getting closer and closer and closer together in offerings. It's very, very, very interesting. And anything else you guys want to say before we close this up? I will start with you, Hustle. Anything you want to tell the people that they should be paying attention to in the PlayStation ecosystem in the next 6 to 8 months? What do you see happening? What great game, besides your Elden Rings and your third-party games taking the attention, what do we see, like how Ratchet and Clank came and took the conversation away from everyone else for quite some time when it was out? Do we see something like that coming around for PlayStation this year before the end of the year, or where do you see that happening?
Well, I'll say if the rumors are true, God of War will be like the next hit, the next big thing for PlayStation.
Do you think that'll be this year? God of War, the next one?
Do I think it'll be this year? Yeah.
Okay.
I'll say. Here's why I'll say that. I don't know. Do they have? I wonder if PlayStation has anything scheduled to release between September and November of this year. Because if they don't, then yes, then I feel like that is more in line.
Doovie, you need to stop. That's not what I was saying. Stop. you out there clowning, brother. Don't do that. That's not what I was trying to say.
I didn't do that. No. I think there's I think that if PlayStation has nothing at the top of the year, and I don't, or the latter part of this year, and I don't think they do, then I think that we see more. If we see gameplay at God of War, we get a release date. Let me just say that.
Yeah.
If that is the case, then they finish off the year strong.
Okay.
Returnal, I know a lot of you all may or may not be a fan of Returnal. Returnal just got a new co-op mode, so that's kind of carrying people through. I saw a few prominent people in our community. Right?
Yeah, I actually want to try jumping back in, but as I said, I'm in a construction zone and my PS5 is in a box. So when it comes out, I'll definitely be tapping back into Returnal for sure.
It's cool. And as far as like the multiplayer stuff, I mean, it seems like they're working on it, and they have like a ton of like live service games that they're working on. They actually just got Haven Studios, which is led by Jay Raymond. They actually like scooped them up because they were funding their project anyway. Yeah. And by them funding the project,
and they're working on a service game, right? Multiplayer. Yeah.
Yep. So just different things. If it's to be believed, shout out to Broken Games HDR. He wants SOCOM. He wants SOCOM to make a comeback. And they do have a Blue Point, and we don't know if they've been working on that or Bloodborne, because those rumors have been swirling around as well.
Yeah, it surprises the heck out of me that we have not seen a SOCOM yet. I mean, as COD is ruling the world as long as it has, you would think PlayStation would have jumped in there with a SOCOM already. I'm surprised.
Yeah, I mean, and that's PlayStation 2. That's my uncle used to have that damn game. He used to like play that thing and go crazy. But it's just one of those things, man. I think that things are like finally heating up. And let's not forget about Nintendo. I know you asked me about PlayStation, but let's not forget about Nintendo. And it's released Kirby, like the first 3D Kirby period. Yep. And it's the reception is going really well. And
every time we speak about Nintendo, there's a little bit of righteous smoke that needs to be delivered, because right now the best place to play Breath of the Wild is not the Switch. I'm just saying.
Oh man!
But continue, good sir. Continue. Go ahead.
Ahoy ye matey.
No. And I saw Mr. Slow-Mo Backslap going down that path. I own my copy of Breath of the Wild, people, and I took the SD card out and I put that SD card in here, and then I got it emulated in another method. I purchased that legally, good sirs. Continue. All right.
Hey, I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you at all. Hey, listen, man. I want the Steam Deck to like put fire under Nintendo for their next handheld console, because
maybe they start using a system on a chip that was built in 2020, recently, instead of 2013, like they've been for however long it's been. Like, get out of here with all that Nintendo.
And maybe they can hit Microsoft up and say, hey, what about your online infrastructure? Can you help us, please? Because you're playing Super Smash Brothers Ultimate on Switch. Like, a lot of people,
it ain't hot.
I listen. I paid the $10 and brought the little Ethernet port thing. I paid the $10 for it because it's $10. Like, it helps. Your games download much faster. Like, there's never mind. Shout out to Nintendo, man. I mean, forever in our hearts, I guess. But
what about you, Everborn? What do you think? So we keep hearing about rumors of new games being announced, new studios being acquired. Oh, Sony's not taking all this lying down. Oh, they might be acquiring Kojima Studios. Not happening, but that's neither here nor there. We saw them coming out with Forbidden West, right? I love that game. Like, some people loved it, some people didn't. Bugs, whatever. Elden Ring ate its lunch. Unfortunate. Where do we see PlayStation going now? What's the big game coming? Do you expect to dust off your PS5 and play more of it, like get knee deep, no life, awesome game between now and the year end? What do you think?
That depends on if God of War comes out, right? And flip a coin for it, whether that's going to drop this year or not. But I could see them strategically moving God of War just because the holidays, and it's not just because of Starfield, but the holiday is busy all around anyway, right? So I could see them potentially, moving God of War to something like a March of 2023, where the zone, where it can have a little bit more legs, right, for the launch. Now, but I think with all the studios they're acquiring, right, unless they've had games in the works, we've seen this. We've seen Microsoft acquire studios, and I know the kind of studios that Sony has acquired have been a little bit different, meaning they were companies that were working with them already. So maybe they have things in the pipeline. But how long is it before Housemarque's next game? How long is it before Bluepoint's next game? Right? Hopefully we get Spider-Man 2 in 2023.
It sounds like both Housemarque and Bluepoint are at the same level. They both just released their games fresh with the PS5. So now they're probably in pre-production on another game that they've already started, or they're knee-deep in that next iteration.
Right.
But they're definitely not ready right now, that's for sure.
Right. And that says to me 2023, 2024 at the earliest, right? So,
true.
we Naughty Dog takes notoriously long to release games. So, will we get something from Naughty Dog before the end of the gen?
Oh, for sure. You said
sorry, I should say the middle of the gen, because they do about 2 games a generation, right? Is that?
I mean, if you want to count like The Last of Us remastered and then The Last of Us 2, sure. But
but usually at the AAA high stakes, they usually do one really big monstrous.
They did Uncharted 4 and Last of Us, right? Plus they did that too.
Yep.
Plus they did that big DLC for it. So I don't know. I guess I would count that as another game. My point is their output isn't. It's great, but it is. Rare is not the right word, but the point is you're going to get 2-3 games from them this gen, right? Yep. Unless they've expanded and they're doing other things.
You probably won't get 2-3. You might get 1 or 2.
Right. So again, who is ready right now to do something in the near term other than Insomniac saying that Spider-Man was coming in 2023?
And then Wolverine after that, which I said, 2025? 2024. I would not put it past Insomniac. They're the ones that go, hey, Monday, Spider-Man 2. Wednesday, Wolverine. They'll do it to you. Like they will do it to you.
They're saying Wolverine is visiting New York, so they already have those assets.
And they'll be amazing. Like, why? Because it's Insomniac. It will be amazing. Hands down. I'll bet you right now. They'll release both of them at the same time, and they'll both be hands down the best thing you've ever played.
So I say all that to say they have a lot, but unless they are. The other thing with Sony is, even if they don't have their first party, or their first party is still, in the lab, and they won't be ready to serve the cook up, as they call it, until the second half of the gen. Remember, Sony is notoriously ruthless and good at locking down third-party exclusives. So just because it's not something that's on our radar doesn't mean
you're saying is
they can't lock down.
So what you're saying is right now, Jim Ryan and Herman Hulse have a dude with a deep pocket and a hat, and he's just walking around throwing his money in his hat. Just walking around like, hey.
and that can give them the room to breathe that they need. So
True. Same thing Microsoft is doing with Game Pass, right? Same thing. Right. Same thing they're doing.
Also, another thing to think about is, so what The original Horizon came out 2017.
Mm-hmm.
Took them 5 years to make another one.
6 years to build it. Yeah.
Right. And so God of War was 2018. If that doesn't make it this year, that's another 5 years. Right.
Which is surprising because Guerrilla built the Decima engine, hence taking 6 years to build Horizon, whereas God of War is based off of reuse of assets of the last God of War. So, like, I can agree that it would take time, but I would hope that the reason why it's taking time is not because they're not rebuilding the assets. It would be that they're expanding the story far bigger than it's ever been. I can imagine that may be why there'd be delays, but not necessarily technology-wise, because it should be in the operative word, look exactly like it does now.
For Kratos got arrested the other day, right?
Yes, he did.
Something in regards to that. Yes.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes,
we're not going to say for what.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah.
But I don't know if that affects the production.
The production timelines and all of that. Yeah.
It definitely is a doozy.
Because the voice of Kratos, he had like some kind
multiple
of
surgeries and stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So, and he said that delayed the game, or was part of the reason for the game delay.
For the delay,
one of the mocap actors is dealing with some things right now.
It could also lead to further delays. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, you know what? Let's close out this show. I appreciate this. Has been a great conversation. Let me answer a few questions. I see Victor Alistine in the chat asking a few questions. First question, he says, "What if Microsoft were to work with Sega to get a Game Gear type hardware out there? That'd be dope."
I say to you, sir, Sega's in the hardware business right now.
Well, but this is what I'm saying. To you, sir, Victor Alistine, to you, sir, I say Sega does not need to work with Microsoft to get you a Game Gear S system. I think Valve has already done that, good sir.
Relax.
There you go.
I'm just putting that out there. We'll keep it moving real quick.
Now, Microsoft does need to work with Sega on acquiring them.
Oh, here we go. Get your drinks ready.
Can build a Surface Belt and call it a day.
But yes. For all those fans who are all about that life, that Game Gear life with PlayStation, with Microsoft, I say, hey, Game Pass on the Steam Deck is a thing. It can be done, and it's beautiful, sirs. So get yourself a deck. It's a beautiful thing. Second question he asked before we go is, what if Ragnarok is a flop? Just asking.
All right. Just slow down.
Ragnarok is not going to be a flop. However,
he's just asking. Asking.
Let me play the game for a second. What it will not have going for it is the shiny newness of what 2018 was.
People won't be surprised at what they see because they know what they're seeing at that point.
Will it
You're right.
hit the way the 2018 the 2018 hit? And
it's like Doom to Doom Eternal. That's what it's like. It's like Doom to Doom Eternal. The first Doom was a revelation. Second Doom, you knew what you're expecting.
Still
now
great.
It's about substance.
Everybody loves it.
That's right.
Does it?
It didn't. That's right.
Talking to town.
Let me.
It's like Doom to Doom Eternal. Go ahead.
No, visually it's not going to hit necessarily the higher notes because this is a cross-gen game. I do believe, if I remember right, I think this new God of War is a cross-gen game. So now it probably won't hit
100%. It is a cross-gen game.
In terms of storytelling, this is the last game in Norse mythology. So they'll answer all the unanswered questions out of the first one. And I think it's going to hit. I think it's going to be Game of the Year. Assuming if it come out this year, it's Game of the Year. Elden Ring doing what it's doing. Cool.
Against Elden Ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, I ain't know. And I'm, listen.
My man. Oh, he's fighting against the crack epidemic, baby. Good job. I know Everborn is not going there. I know he's not going there. Good job.
I'm not going there, and I'm not going there. Right?
He has nothing to say because at this point he's just like, when's this show over? I got to get back to Elden Ring. What's going on?
So the thing is with because here's the thing, like Horizon Forbidden West looks amazing, all accounts. Everybody agrees it's a great game. It's a like you must play it. I haven't played it yet, but the way people are talking about it, and you can blame this on Elden Ring, but I feel like it has kind of fallen out of the conversation a lot faster than the first one did. And so my question is, I know myself included.
Tunic hasn't even jumped on the conversation, and that's Elden Ring's fault. So there you go.
But you can't compare Tunic to her Forbidden West. But my point is, with God of War, because we all know like what we're getting, this is a continuation and a completion of that story. That is one thing versus this new vision of the franchise. So because we've already gone through that, I know all those people are going to jump back on it to see what happened. But will it be revered in the way that the first one was? And I just think we as human beings like shiny new things. So
100%.
No, this is not an indictment on the quality of the
game.
I
agree with you, Everboard. I agree with you.
Roof, but will it get the same?
It's a known commodity at this time. It's a known commodity. It's a known thing. If all of a sudden Ratchet and Clank comes out next year, all in like gritty realism, it may garner attention because that's not the Ratchet and Clank you're used to, right? Just like you had your Kratos coming out. Bad Dad Simulator, very unusual, right? We hadn't seen that before, and it won the attention. The next instance of Kratos' outing will need to be substance and not just so much of the flash. You're absolutely right. So I'm looking forward to it. That may be why it looks like it might be a little bit delayed. They may be going, okay, well, we're no longer going to be able to just impress people off of graphics because they've seen it already. It's even on PC at this point. So now we must impress people off of the sheer vastness of the tale we tell or something. And maybe that's why it's delaying things. I'm there for it day one. I'm a double dipper, beat it on PlayStation, playing it now through on the Steam Deck, on Steam and all of this. I'm enjoying the heck out of it. So, but you know what? Let us round out the conversation because we were going to do 2 hours. We're close to 2:30. So we might as well get to the end of this. But we cannot end this without once again throwing the flowers out and giving the accolades and thanking you so much, Mr. Hustle and Motivate, for joining us. Great conversation. He could be a PlayStation dude, Xbox people here, PC people here. We're all gaming. This is how it should be. The slander should be kept to a comical minimum. Comical minimum. But we appreciate you for being here. We'll put all your information in the show notes. But just in case people haven't heard, once again, fill folks in. Where can they find you? We appreciate you being here. Where can they keep up with your stuff on the Addict Show on a weekly basis? Another great piece of content that you drop with the aforementioned Lord Addict. Sell your brand, good sir.
All right, so every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Iron Lords channel, you catch me with Addict doing the Addict Show. But me, as far as I'm concerned, Hustle and Motivate everywhere. It's the way it's spelled on YouTube and Twitter. I'll be on Twitch every so often. I have fun with Twitch. I don't really take that too serious. But building up the YouTube brand, I'm at 602 subs. So I'm on the road to 1,000. And if I keep up the output, I will definitely surpass that in no time. Thank y'all for having me. Like this, it's cool. You said it, keep the show 2 hours. We went over. So what? Who cares? It's cool.
You're lucky you're not at that 4-hour show we usually do. We're trying to keep that minimum this time.
So that I can't do. But and you shout out to the longer podcast. LP is the first one that comes to mind. But no, I had a good time, y'all. This to me is super dope. Thank y'all for allowing you guys to have your platform and just shine a little light on me. Shine a little light on me. I do have some things in the works. Actually, when I'm finished here, I guess I'll announce it now. I'm going to do a what I've been playing video. I did the thumbnail. I just got to do the thing, but we got like family stuff going on today. So I'll probably release that Sunday, if not Monday. I just got to keep working. I just got to keep working hard. And, we talked about Game of the Year real quick. I'll say that the Game of the Year is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. That's my most anticipated game this year.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Above all else. I love
We can agree. We can agree for sure. For sure. That is all. So say we all. That's it. It. If you haven't checked, please finish, please.
Oh, no, I was going to say, and also Kingdom Hearts. I will be playing Kingdom Hearts.
I would love to hear your review of that, man. When you're done, I would love, in 2022, coming fresh, never played, I would love to hear your review of that. So people, great guest. If you haven't checked out his stuff, you know where to find him. I'll put all of the details in the show notes. If you are not subscribed to Hustle and Motivate, if you're not following him on Twitter, you're doing it wrong. Always positivity. Always got righteous smoke for those who deserve it. Check him out. Really appreciate you being here, sir. It's wonderful to have you on the show. Mr. Everborn Saga, you are a little late. You're still on the crack grind. Tell the fine people where they can find you on your weekly basis here. Go ahead and tell them what the next Elden Ring boss you are now beating is all about.
I still haven't beaten the Fire Giant. I'm trying to level up. I think I need to. I'm getting killed out there. But I actually have not been gaming that much this week because of the backyard project. By the way, Hustle. Mm-hmm. We are working on a Redlands game right now that is in the vein of Shredder's Revenge.
Okay, so he's working on the beat 'em up. Yeah,
yeah.
So I tell you what, we do follow each other on Twitter. When the joint drop, DM me. I'm gonna make sure I pick up 2 copies. I'm gonna buy one myself, and I'll make sure I give one away. I got you. You got my word on that one.
So that's we trying to get the vertical slice out by the end of the year and do some pitching to. Maybe we can get into a Game Pass or a PlayStation Plus. We'll see. I don't know. After that Oddworld thing, though, maybe we want to not really. But that's neither here nor there. Well, but that's a topic for another day, another show. But Everborn Saga everywhere, especially everbornsaga.com. You can go right now and buy the Redlands or Prince of Arcadia or Ariel's Adventure today. Check it out. Get ingrained into the world that we are putting together. We are building an MCU, but for anime and Western fantasy. You put all those things together, and that is what the Everborn Saga is. Check it out and be on the lookout for the game we are making. As soon as we start getting some art assets in, I'll start sharing some pictures on that soon. Just waiting on some things to come in. And Ariel's Adventure Chapter 2 is on the way as well. Okay, that is it. That's all I got. Everborn Saga on YouTube. On Mondays, I'm on PTG with Kay Asante. Saturdays, I'm here. At some point, I'm going to bring back On the Reel. And right now, I'm heading over to Xbox University's channel to do X Class. So go over to his channel if you want to hear us talk about more of this stuff.
I like that guy.
Yeah. Yes, sir. He's out there. He's speaking the truth to the people, you know. He's out there.
Yep.
For sure.
But yeah, check out Xbox University's channel. I'm heading over there in the next 5 minutes. So
all right.
That's it. That's all I got.
So once again, thank everybody for checking out the show. I appreciate the audio and the video listeners. Even though we're in this construction zone and we have horrible audio and it's not absolutely perfect like you used to, people still keeping the numbers up. People are still watching. People are still listening. You have my eternal appreciation for that. When this show posts, if there's anything you want to talk about, continue the conversation, put it in the comment section. You know I always reply back because a bunch of people reply, and I always continue the conversation with them. Also on Twitter, you'll catch us there. Myself, Mr. Hustle and Motivate, as well as Everborn Saga, all like it's spelled on the screen you see. You can catch us on the Twitter streets, and we're always ready to continue the conversation with you there as well. You know, those of y'all who are still here, thank you so much. Please consider liking. Please consider subscribing. On the way to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. Hopefully, we will get there. We're close to 500, so please help us get there as soon as we can. We appreciate all of you who, on a weekly basis, continue to come check us out. We will end this show, and yes, everybody in the chat, Doovie, I see you, Pixelbit G, I see a bunch of folks in there. Victor Alistine, thank you guys so much. I appreciate you guys for continued support, coming to check us out, and also for liking and subscribing and checking out our guests. We appreciate all of y'all for your continued support. So, until next week, I will say I hope y'all have a great weekend and y'all come and checking us out again. And we'll see you next week on the Gaming Circle Podcast. Peace, y'all.